देशवासियों, नमस्कार। कल से शक्ति की उपासना का पर्व नवरात्रि का आरंभ हो रहा है। आप सभी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। नवरात्रि के पहले दिन से देश आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान के लिए एक और महत्वपूर्ण और बड़ा कदम उठा रहा है। कल यानी नवरात्रि के प्रथम दिवस 22 सितंबर को सूर्योदय के साथ ही नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लागू हो जाएंगे। एक तरह से कल से देश में जीएसटी बचत उत्सव शुरू होने जा रहा है। इस जीएसटी बचत उत्सव में आपकी बचत बढ़ेगी और आप अपनी पसंद की चीजों को और ज्यादा आसानी से खरीद पाएंगे। हमारे देश के गरीब, मध्यम वर्गीय लोग, न्यू मिडिल क्लास, युवा, किसान, महिलाएं, दुकानदार, व्यापारी, उद्यमी सभी को ये बचत उत्सव का बहुत फायदा होगा। यानी त्योहारों के इस मौसम में सबका मुंह मीठा होगा। देश के हर परिवार की खुशियां बढ़ेगी। मैं देश के कोटि कोटि परिवारजनों को नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स की और इस बचत उत्सव की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। ये रिफॉर्म भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी को एक्सेलरेट करेंगे, कारोबार को और आसान बनाएंगे, निवेश को और आकर्षक बनाएंगे और हर राज्य को विकास की दौड़ में बराबरी का साथी बनाएंगे। साथियों, जब साल 2017 में भारत ने जीएसटी रिफॉर्म की तरफ कदम बढ़ाया था, तो एक पुराना इतिहास बदलने की और एक नया इतिहास रचने की शुरुआत हुई थी। दशकों तक हमारे देश की जनता, आप सभी लोग, देश के व्यापारी अलग अलग टैक्स के जाल में उलझे हुए थे। ऑक्ट्रॉय, एंट्री टैक्स, सेल टैक्स, एक्साइज, वेट, सर्विस टैक्स, न जाने भांति भांति के दर्जनों टैक्स हमारे देश में थे। एक शहर से दूसरे शहर माल भेजना हो तो न जाने कितने चेकपोस्ट पार करने होते थे, कितने ही फॉर्म भरने पड़ते थे, कितनी सारी रुकावटें थी। हर जगह टैक्स के अलग अलग नियम थे। मुझे याद है जब 2014 में देश ने मुझे प्रधानमंत्री पद का दायित्व सौंपा था, तब उसी शुरुआत के दौर में एक विदेशी अखबार में एक दिलचस्प उदाहरण छपा था। उसमें एक कंपनी की मुश्किलों का जिक्र था। उस कंपनी ने कहा था कि अगर उसे बेंगलुरु से 570 किलोमीटर दूर हैदराबाद अपना सामान भेजना हो तो वो इतना कठिन था कि उन्होंने सोचा और उन्होंने कहा कि वो पसंद करती थी कंपनी कि पहले अपना सामान बेंगलुरु से यूरोप भेजें और फिर वही सामान यूरोप से हैदराबाद भेजें। साथियों, टैक्स और टोल के जंजाल की वजह से ये तब के हालात थे। और मैं आपको सिर्फ एक पुराना उदाहरण याद दिला रहा हूं। तब ऐसी लाखों कंपनियों को, लाखों करोड़ों देशवासियों को अलग अलग तरह के टैक्स के जाल की वजह से हर रोज परेशानी होती थी। सामान को एक शहर से दूसरे शहर पहुंचने के बीच जो खर्च बढ़ता था, वो भी गरीब को उठाना पड़ता था। आप जैसे ग्राहकों से वसूला जाता था। साथियों, देश को इस स्थिति से निकालना बहुत जरूरी था। इसलिए जब आपने हमें 2014 में अवसर दिया, तो हमने जनहित में, देशहित में जीएसटी को अपनी प्राथमिकता बनाया। हमने हर स्टेक होल्डर से चर्चा की। हमने हर राज्यों की हर शंका का निवारण किया, हर सवाल का समाधान खोजा। सभी राज्यों को, सबको साथ लेकर आजाद भारत का इतना बड़ा टैक्स रिफॉर्म संभव हो पाया। ये केंद्र और राज्यों के प्रयासों का नतीजा था कि देश दर्जनों टैक्सों के जाल से मुक्त हुआ और पूरे देश के लिए एक जैसी व्यवस्था बनी। वन नेशन वन टैक्स का सपना साकार हुआ। साथियों, रिफॉर्म एक अनवरत चलने वाली प्रक्रिया होती है। जब समय बदलता है, देश की जरूरत बदलती है, तो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन रिफॉर्म भी उतने ही आवश्यक होते हैं। इसलिए देश की वर्तमान जरूरतों और भविष्य के सपनों को देखते हुए जीएसटी के ये नए रिफॉर्म्स लागू हो रहे हैं। नए स्वरूप में मुख्य रूप से अब सिर्फ 5% और 18% के ही टैक्स स्लैब रहेंगे। इसका मतलब है रोजमर्रा के इस्तेमाल की ज्यादातर चीजें और सस्ती हो जाएगी। खाने पीने का सामान, दवाइयां, साबुन, ब्रश, पेस्ट, स्वास्थ्य और जीवन बीमा, ऐसे अनेकों सामान, अनेकों सेवाएं या तो टैक्स फ्री होगी या फिर केवल 5% टैक्स देना होगा। जिन सामानों पर पहले 12% टैक्स लगा करता था, उसमें से 99%, यानी करीब करीब 100 के निकट 99% चीजें अब 5% टैक्स के दायरे में आ गई है। साथियों, पिछले 11 साल में देश में 25 करोड़ लोगों ने गरीबी को हराया है, गरीबी को परास्त किया है और गरीबी से बाहर निकल करके 25 करोड़ का एक बहुत बड़ा समूह नियो मिडिल क्लास के रूप में आज देश के अंदर बहुत बड़ी भूमिका अदा कर रहा है। इस न्यू मिडिल क्लास की अपनी एस्पिरेशंस हैं, अपने सपने हैं। इस साल सरकार ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री करके एक उपहार दिया। और स्वाभाविक है, जब 12 लाख रुपयों का इनकम टैक्स में राहत हो जाए तो मध्यम वर्ग के जीवन में तो कितना बड़ा बदलाव आता है, कितनी सरलता सुविधा हो जाती है। और अब गरीबों की भी बारी है, न्यू मिडिल क्लास की बारी है। अब गरीब को, न्यू मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है। जीएसटी कम होने से अब देश के नागरिकों के लिए अपने सपने पूरे करना और आसान होगा। घर बनाना, टीवी, फ्रिज खरीदने की बात हो, स्कूटर, बाइक, कार खरीदना हो, ये सब पर अब कम खर्च करना होगा। आपके लिए घूमना फिरना भी सस्ता हो जाएगा, क्योंकि ज्यादातर होटल्स के कमरों पर भी जीएसटी कम कर दिया गया है। वैसे साथियों, मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि दुकानदार भाई बहन भी जीएसटी रिफॉर्म को लेकर बहुत उत्साह में हैं। वो बहुत जीएसटी में हुई कटौती को ग्राहकों तक पहुंचाने में जुटे हुए हैं। बहुत सारी जगहों पर पहले और अब के बोर्ड लगाए जा रहे हैं। साथियों, हम नागरिक देवो भवः के जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है। अगर हम इनकम टैक्स में छूट और जीएसटी में छूट को जोड़ दें तो एक साल में जो निर्णय हुए हैं उससे देश के लोगों को 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की बचत होगी। और तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं, ये बचत उत्सव है। साथियों, विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य तक पहुंचने के लिए हमें आत्मनिर्भरता के रास्ते पर चलना ही होगा। और भारत को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने का बहुत बड़ा दायित्व हमारे एमएसएमईज यानी हमारे लघु, मध्यम और कुटीर उद्योगों पर भी है, जो देश के लोगों की जरूरत का है, जो हम देश में ही बना सकते हैं, वो हमें देश में ही बनाना चाहिए। साथियों, जीएसटी की दरें कम होने से नियम और प्रक्रियाएं और आसान बनने से हमारे एमएसएमईज, हमारे लघु उद्योगों को, कुटीर उद्योगों को बहुत फायदा होगा। उनकी बिक्री बढ़ेगी और टैक्स भी कम देना पड़ेगा, यानी उनको भी डबल फायदा होगा। इसलिए आज मेरी एमएसएमई से लघु उद्योग हो, सूक्ष्म उद्योग हो, कुटीर उद्योग हो, आप सबसे बहुत अपेक्षाएं हैं। आपको भी पता है, जब भारत समृद्धि के शिखर पर था, तब भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था का मुख्य आधार हमारे एमएसएमईज थे, हमारे लघु और कुटीर उद्योग थे। भारत की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, भारत में बने सामानों की क्वालिटी बेहतर होती थी। हमें उस गौरव को वापस पाना है। हमारे लघु उद्योग जो बनाए वो दुनिया में हर कसौटी पर बेस्ट हो, उत्तम से उत्तम हो। हम जो मैन्युफैक्चर करें वो दुनिया में आन बान शान के साथ बेस्ट के सारे पैरामीटर को पार करने वाला हो। हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स की क्वालिटी दुनिया में भारत की पहचान बढ़ाए, भारत का गौरव बढ़ाए। हमें इस लक्ष्य को लेकर काम करना है। साथियों, देश की स्वतंत्रता को जैसे स्वदेशी के मंत्र से ताकत मिली, वैसे ही देश की समृद्धि को भी स्वदेशी के मंत्र से ही शक्ति मिलेगी। आज जाने अनजाने हमारी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में बहुत सी विदेशी चीजें जुड़ गई है, हमें पता तक नहीं है। हमारे जेब में कंघी विदेशी है कि देसी, हमें पता ही नहीं है। हमें इनसे भी मुक्ति पानी होगी। हम वो सामान खरीदें जो मेड इन इंडिया हो, जिसमें हमारे देश के नौजवानों की मेहनत लगी हो, हमारे देश के बेटे बेटियों का पसीना हो। हमें हर घर को स्वदेशी का प्रतीक बनाना है, हर दुकान को स्वदेशी से सजाना है। गर्व से कहो ये स्वदेशी है, गर्व से कहो मैं स्वदेशी खरीदता हूं, मैं स्वदेशी सामान की बिक्री भी करता हूं। ये हर भारतीय का मिजाज बनना चाहिए। जब ये होगा तो भारत तेजी से विकसित होगा। मेरा आज सभी राज्य सरकारों से भी आग्रह है, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के इस अभियान के साथ, स्वदेशी के इस अभियान के साथ अपने राज्यों में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को गति दे। पूरी ऊर्जा से, पूरे उत्साह से जुड़े, निवेश के लिए माहौल बढ़ाएं। जब केंद्र और राज्य मिलकर आगे बढ़ेंगे तो आत्मनिर्भर भारत का सपना पूरा होगा। भारत का हर राज्य विकसित होगा, भारत विकसित होगा। इसी भावना के साथ मैं फिर एक बार इस बचत उत्सव की अनेक अनेक शुभकामनाएं देते हुए अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूं। एक बार फिर आप सबको नवरात्रि की, जीएसटी बचत उत्सव की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much. We're going to have a little session today on the ambassadors. It's a group of people that were selected. They're doing very well. They're very far along in the process. And they're going to each introduce themselves and talk about the country that they're going to. They might say a little bit about themselves also, because people are very interested in that. We're also going to sign right now some executive orders. And Will, if you would come forward?
Yes, sir.
I'll start thinking about signing them, right?
A few things for you today, sir. First, we have a pardon for Devin Archer. Devin Archer was a former business partner of the Biden family. He's was prosecuted relating to a fraud investigation, but notably the tone and tenor of that prosecution changed dramatically after he began to cooperate with congressional investigators and serve as a witness against Hunter Biden and the Biden family. We believe that was an injustice, and therefore we're asking you to pardon him.
And many people have asked me to do this. I think he was treated very unfairly. And I looked at the records, studied the records, and he was a victim of a crime, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to undo that. All right. That's Devon Archer. Congratulations, Devon.
Next, sir, we have a presidential memorandum for your attention. This memorandum requires the immediate declassification of all FBI files relating to the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. This was obviously one of the instances of the weaponization of law enforcement powers of prosecution against you and others. We believe that it's long past time for the American people to have a full and complete understanding of what exactly is in those files.
Which gives the media the right to go in and check it. You probably won't bother because you're not going to like what you see. But this was total weaponization. It's a disgrace. Should never happen in this country. But now you'll be able to see for yourselves, all declassified. Is that correct? Would you
Yes, sir.
say? All declassified?
Yes, sir.
Everything?
The FBI file with there's a classified annex, but other than that, this we'll put everything in the public eye.
Is anybody going to look? Huh? What about you? You going to look? And frankly, the FBI should be ashamed of themselves, and so should the Department of Justice, and so should Biden. Okay?
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention. We've taken action against a number of law firms that have participated either in the weaponization of government, the weaponization of the legal system for political ends, or have otherwise engaged in illegal or inappropriate activities. The law firm of Jenner and Block is one of these law firms. This is a law firm that, as you know, employed Andrew Weissman after he came off of the Mueller investigation. It's a law firm that's engaged in invidious racially and sexually discriminatory practices. It's also a law firm that has participated in the weaponization of the legal system against American principles and values. And we believe that the measures in this executive order will help correct that.
And Andrew Weissman is the main culprit
He's certainly
with respect to this firm.
He is one of a number of reasons that we believe this executive order is warranted.
He's a bad guy. Okay.
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever's next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago. Okay.
Along similar lines, sir, this is an executive order. We're calling it Protecting America's Bank Account. The basic idea here is that instead of having lots of different departments and agencies and offices issuing payment, often without justification, often without any provided rationale, We're going to be centraling payment processes where possible in the Department of the Treasury and ensuring that measures are taken in Treasury against waste, fraud, and abuse to ensure that money that's leaving the public treasury is as protected as it possibly can be.
All right, good. Many of these things should have taken place decades ago or longer.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Mm-hmm. Election fraud, you've heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other. And it's an honor to sign this one. To sign all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir.
So we're going to go around the room a little bit quickly, and we're going to introduce these very outstanding people. They've had, in all cases, outstanding careers. They're very incredible people that are going along as rapidly as the system can go along. We're ahead of, I guess, anybody else thus far. So I want to thank John Thune. He's done a very good job, and the whole Senate. We're being delayed as much as possible by Democrats, but that's standard. It gets to be just standard. But the process is moving along very quickly. So Sergio, just say hello, and then we'll introduce everybody.
Absolutely. Sergio Gorham, Director of Presidential Personnel. It's been an absolute pleasure again to know every one of you every step this way. As the President said, we're at a record pace. We have more nominees today from the Senate than at any previous point, over 70, and that's a record in 2 months. And we're proud of that, and we're determined to ensure the world has America First patriots in all of our posts.
Charlie?
Charles Kushner. I'm going to France and Monaco, and I'm proud to serve under the greatest president of our country. Very proud to serve.
Thank you, Charlie.
James Blair, honored to work here in the White House as Deputy Chief of Staff. And Mr. President, I think that all of these successful people would want to go serve the United States under your leadership as a testament to your vision and leadership.
Thank you, James.
I'm David Perdue. I'm going to the People's Republic of China, and it's my honor to represent President Trump, the people of America, and represent our interests and values in China.
I'm Leah Campos. I'm going to represent the President in the Dominican Republic. Mr. President, thank you for the honor to serve you in Macron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor. Look forward to working with every one of you on behalf of the President, his leadership, and the American
Thanks,
people.
John Arrigo, I am going to the Republic of Portugal, and I'm very excited to do so and serve what I consider one of my closest friends and one of the best presidents this country has ever had. Thank you.
Kevin Cabrera, nominated to be Ambassador to Panama. It truly is an honor, President, to be part of your administration.
Thank you.
Tom Barrack, nominee to the Republic of Turkey. Delighted and honored to be with you, Mr. President, in the host country, which is one of the most ancient in civilization, is in search for your peace, prosperity, and security program. Thank
Good
you.
place.
Mr. President.
Good leader, too.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. It's an honor. I'm Pete Hoekstra, you know that. But I am going to Canada.
Ooh.
I look forward to serving you in Canada and your agenda.
And you do a great job. Thanks, Pete.
Lon Johnson, sir. Thank you for the nomination to represent you and the United States to the United Mexican States. And I'm really encouraged by some of the conversations you've had with President Sheinbaum recently and to the increase in support that we've seen of her government along our border on the important issues. So thank you, sir.
They have stepped it up a lot,
Yes, sir.
Mexico and Canada, so see how it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Matt Whitaker from Des Moines, Iowa. I'm proud to, as soon as I'm confirmed, go represent you at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Thank you.
George Glass, on my way to Japan. Previous administration, I served for you in Portugal. It is a great honor to be able to do this a second time. And thank you
very
for
much.
the opportunity.
Thank you, George.
President Trump, my name is Ken Howry. I'm your nominee to be Ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark, a very close partner and ally. I served for you last time for the Kingdom of Sweden. I want to thank you for the faith you place in me as your nominee to Denmark.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
President Trump, thank you for the honor of a lifetime. My name is Stacy Feinberg, and hopefully I'll have the honor of serving in Luxembourg. And I think that this is the greatest presidency and the greatest time in history, and it's all because of you.
Thank you very much.
Nicole McGraw, nominated to serve in Croatia, and it's such an honor to be here with you today and to serve you and the American people.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
President Trump, thank you very much for your nomination to the Republic of Chile. And let me tell you, Border Patrol agents are so thankful for everything that you've done for them. But
That man knows more about the border than anybody. I'm going to tell you. Thank you.
President's a great honor. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Good
Good
luck.
afternoon, Mr. President. Brian Birch. If I'm confirmed, I'll be representing you at the Holy See. And Catholics are very proud of your work. Your team is doing an excellent job, so thank you. Very honored to serve.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you again for the honor, the greatest privilege. My name is Summer Sparkus. I will serve this great man at the Republic of Malta. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joe Popolo from Dallas, Texas. Very proud to serve you at the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the very first country to recognize the United States 250 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I'm confirmed, I will be representing you in the state of Israel. It will be an extraordinary honor, and you've done more for Israel than any president in any time of its history, and we are grateful. And I'm hoping I'll get to be there by Passover.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike is an outstanding guy. They all are. And Mike, I think is going to do wonders for Israel. He actually probably gets along with both sides, and that'll be interesting to see. But the world is watching you, Mike, so good luck.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good luck. You're going to do well. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you for this great honor to serve the Republic of Italy and San Marino. I'm so looking forward to going over there and working with that great ally, and for the pleasure to serve you. Your staff has been great working with us and have done a great job, and we really appreciate them. Thank you, sir, for pushing this along.
And have a good time. A really good time.
I'm Warren Stevens from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I have the honor to represent the President and the United States in Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and to be chosen to go to such an important ally of ours. I know, sir, and I'm looking forward to it, but thank you for the honor.
Yeah, you're going to do fantastically. These are tremendously successful people, and you two guys, and then you add on Mike. I think they have a little more money than Mike, but he's got some other advantages. He's got some other, like upstairs, he's got some big advantages.
Yeah, he does.
It's very exciting. It's really exciting to have all of you. Would you have any questions, media, for the people that you just saw? So outstanding, and I thought it would be nice to bring them before you. And so if you have any questions, please.
I wanted to ask about the talks in Saudi Arabia. It sounds like you made some progress on a Black Sea ceasefire.
Yeah.
Could you update us on that? What happens now?
So we've made a lot of progress on two fronts, on both sections that we call them sections, but they're much more than that, Russia, Ukraine, and also the Middle East, and we'll see what happens. We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and I would say it's going well, but it's a situation we should have never had to even think about, should have never happened. And on the Middle East, that's been going on for a lot of years. Centuries and centuries, it just keeps going, and we are making a lot of progress, so that's all I can report. But some very, very big talks are going, and detailed talks are going on right now on both fronts.
Mr. President, you said that your national security advisor learned a lesson after a reporter.
Excuse me, I didn't make you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, the ceasefire agreement that was brokered today allows for third-party countries to help implement the agreement. What does that look like, and who's going to be involved?
The ceasefire agreement?
Yes, the maritime ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, they're going to get together. Look, it's they agreed to something and it got broken. There's tremendous animosity. There's a lot of hatred, as you can probably tell, and it allows for people to get together, mediate it, arbitrate it, and see if we can get it stopped, and I think it will. That'll get stopped.
What countries are you looking to work with, sir, to help implement and monitor that ceasefire?
We have other countries involved, and they're involved very strongly in the process, and that'll be resolved. That's actually, as bad as it is, that's the least of the problems. So we'll get that resolved, and we are being aided by other countries too. Yes, please.
Yes.
Brian?
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it. Would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased for the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money. Especially, I don't even know what DOGE's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse, hundreds of billions of dollars, and just waste, fraud, abuse. You heard yesterday some of the new things that were found. 22 billion just in environment, billion. You know, if you had 22 million, Warren, it would be nice, but 22 billion put into environmental accounts. One was 2 billion into one account, Stacey Abrams, where they had $100 in the account. And just before I came in, they put $2 billion. And you guys are looking, so you mean 2 million or maybe 200,000? No, $2 billion were put in the account. What do you think of that, Mike? Do you think that's a straight deal? 2 billion?
Just write me the check, Mr. President.
It's a horrible thing, and we have so many of those things. So they've done an incredible job, and the country wants to hear it. I think DOGE is actually very popular because of what's happening. They're hearing about all of these scams and for big money, tremendous amount. And when you add it up, just hundreds of billions of dollars being wasted, and much of it's fraud. You know, we talk about waste. And it is waste and abuse, but a lot of it's fraud.
Can I
too.
follow up on something?
Mr. President, I have a question
Yeah, go
on
ahead,
Doge.
Brian.
I just want to follow up on that. If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject, and we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything, but that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time, and we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
Some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress?
The which
on that?
package?
A rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law.
You know what? It would be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Mr. President, are you going to change any of the practices that your national security officials used after a reporter was inadvertently added to a group chat about attacks on Yemen?
Well, I think it's a question I've been asked now, and I've given a few answers, and they've all been the same. We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. We have had a very, very successful, numerous attacks on that area. These are people that shoot down ships, not only our ships, ships all over the world. They're shooting down right out of the water and damaging them badly, or they're going down. They're also shooting anything that happens to be flying in the area. We hit them very, very hard. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use. And I think I'll ask Mike. Mike is here. Do you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Mr. President. You asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families. And this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. President Trump took decisive action with his national security team, took out the head missileer, knocked out missiles, knocked out headquarters, knocked out communication sites. And for once, as we hear, as you all hear from every one of our allies, thank God for American leadership again. Thank God for American strength. You're welcome, Lord. And look, we had a national security team that was coordinating these efforts. As Director Radcliffe testified today, his first day on the job, he was introduced to this app on his government systems at the CIA and at the State Department and otherwise. So look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants the world talking about more hoaxes and this kind of nonsense rather than the freedom that you're enabling. And a key part of our sovereignty is open sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists, which is exactly what your team and Pete Hegseth, a good friend and fellow veteran, is leading the charge on, and it's an honor.
We had a very, very successful, we had a very, very successful evening. And we've had numerous successful evenings and days in that area. The Houthis are absolutely on the run. The worst of them has been killed. This should have been done a long time ago by Biden, but Biden was an incompetent president. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know where he was going. He had no clue. This guy had no clue. This should have been done a long time ago. As they shoot missiles at ships, randomly shoot missiles at ships, and they make their own missiles. You know, this is not an incompetent group of people. They make their own missiles. They get the missiles also from Iran. It's an offshoot of Iran, another offshoot. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis. You got a lot of stuff going on with Iran. And we sent a letter to Iran. You're going to have to be speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon, because we can't let this happen. But that's an app that a lot of people use. And somebody got on. I mean, I happen to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. Does very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories, and they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that. He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job. In addition to him, we had very good people in that meeting, and those people have done a very, very effective job, and you're going to see it. And it goes on, by the way. It's going to go on. And I think the Houthis wish that it didn't happen, but that's what it's all about. We have to create a safe country, a safe world, and that's what we're doing.
Do you worry that national security was put at risk, Mr. President?
Of senior officials using Signal.
Do I plan to ban who?
The use of Signal to communicate from senior officials.
Well, I don't know I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I hear it's used by a lot of groups. It's used by the media a lot. It's used by a lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the Situation Room with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly. But you know, the best is to be there. In fact, oftentimes I've been in fact, just last week I was in the Situation Room with something very important, and we had a couple of people hooked up by line, and I said, cancel the line. Sorry, fellas, what you do is we'll tell you all about the meeting, because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
So are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and you know, they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had, and I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during, and it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
But you are going to conduct
would
an
it be a
investigation,
problem if
Mr.
the Atlantic released all the text messages if they're not classified?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to ask the military about that, because you know, maybe you wouldn't want that. I don't know. I will say this: that from what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of, he left. He found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early. So I can't speak to it other than that. So he's made up a lot of stories, and you know, I think he's basically bad for the country. But it's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them. But I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table, who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Mr. President, can I follow up on that? Can I follow up on that? Are you saying you're okay with the continued use of Signal by administration officials
No, that's
for
not what I said. I said we'll look into it, but everybody else seems to be using it. It seems to be the #1 used device or app, whatever you want to call it, and we will certainly look. If it was up to me, everybody would be sitting in a room together. The room would have solid lead walls and a lead ceiling and a lead floor. But, you know, life doesn't always let you do that. In the meantime, the attack itself that we were talking about and discussing has been an unbelievable success.
But you will conduct an investigation, is what you're saying into this.
We'll look into it, sure.
Who's going to lead that investigation?
I want to look
that
into
the FBI or
anything
who would
like
do
that. I would ask them. It's not really an FBI thing. It's really something having to do with security. Security, like will somebody be able to break in? Are people able to break into conversations? And if that's true, we're going to have to find some other form of device. And I think that's something that we may have to do. Some people like Signal very much. Other people probably don't. But we'll look into it. I think, Michael, I've asked you to immediately study that and find out. If people are able to break into a system, now in this case it wasn't that this attack was going on and nobody found out anything. And again, the person that was on, as I understand it, he left very early because he didn't find it very exciting. But I think it's something you should look into.
Yes, sir, we are. We have our technical experts looking at it. We have our legal teams looking at it. And of course, we're going to keep everything as secure as possible. No one in your national security team would ever put anyone in danger. And as you said, and we've repeatedly said, the attack was phenomenal and it's ongoing. But the media wants to talk about everything else except for the hostages you're getting out of the Middle East, Iran on its back foot, sea lanes getting reopened, peace in Europe. As we just saw today with a Black Sea ceasefire, we were just on with Steve Witkoff, myself, our team in Saudi Arabia. They want to talk about all this other stuff except for your amazing successes and the successes of your team.
One of the other things, and sometimes you have to move very quickly, and there are other devices that are very good, but they are very, very cumbersome, and you're not able to use them and, from a practical standpoint. So all we can do is find out the best we have with modern technology. They'll probably get better over the years. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, on the Black Sea, so the Kremlin has said that there are several conditions that would need to be met for this agreement to happen. This includes sanction relief for banks and some companies. Did the U.S. agree to all of those conditions that they laid out?
They will be looking at them, and we're thinking about all of them right now. There are about 5 or 6 conditions. We're looking at all of them.
Mr. President said that it's looking into how a journalist got added to that Signal chat. Is it possible that there could be a firing of even a lower mid-level official once that person is identified?
About what?
About the Signal chat that we've been discussing.
We've pretty much looked into it. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's not. It's just something that can happen. It can happen. You can even prepare for it. It can happen. Sometimes people are hooked in and you don't know they're hooked in. They're hooked into your line and they don't even mean bad by it. But it's not a perfect technology. There is no perfect technology. The really good ones are very cumbersome, very hard to access. And I think we're going to look at, we always want to use the best technology. This was the best technology for the moment. But again, it wasn't classified, so they probably viewed it as being something that wasn't that important. And it obviously, with the attack being, I mean, I don't know if it's been read out to you yet, but that attack was a tremendous success for the U.S., a tremendous success.
Who said the information was not classified?
Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
Yes, sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
A lot of times you find out defects by exactly things like that, but I don't think it's something we're looking forward to using again. We may be forced to use it. You may be in a situation where you need speed as opposed to gross safety, and you may be forced to use it, but generally speaking, I think we probably won't be using it very much.
Mr. President, the Secretary of Defense, on that train, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, the Vice President, said that the Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer that? Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade, terrible. And as you know, NATO, I got them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars. They were way behind. And if you look if you look at Ukraine, so we're in for $350 billion because of Biden. Should have never happened, this war. All these dead people should not be dead. All these broken cities that are demolished down to the ground, those gorgeous towers, the most beautiful in the world, the most beautiful spires in the world. The spires in Ukraine were said to be the most beautiful of all. Just about every one of them is lying on its side in a million pieces. It's so sad to see what's happened to a heritage. No, I think that when they say the European Union and you could say NATO also. Look, NATO, and I don't blame NATO for this. I don't blame Europe for this. I blame Biden for the fact that he didn't make them equalize. And to this day, I said to him, "You got to catch up. You got to equalize." But why are they in for $100 billion and we're in for possibly $350 billion? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you could say more important for them because we have an ocean in between. So it's one of those things. You'll be seeing Liberation Day. I call it Liberation Day in America. You're going to be seeing on April 2nd. Didn't want to do it on April 1st for the obvious reason, April 2nd. But you'll be seeing tariffs. And I think I've been very fair. I have them set. But I think I've been very fair to countries that have really abused us economically for many, many decades.
Mr. President, who told you that information was not classified? Which of your national security advisors
Just
told you
following
that?
up on your comments on the economy, there is reporting that consumer confidence fell for the fourth straight month. What is your message to Americans who are concerned
Well,
about?
I know this, that for the first time in like 50 years, right track, wrong track, we're on the right track. And I think people see that. And if you look at prices are way down. You know, when I first came here, the first time I met with you people officially, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, I've been here for a week and I'm being yelled at about eggs. Egg prices have come down 45–50% in the last week and a half. And our Secretary of Agriculture has done a great job, as you know, Brooke. She's done a fantastic job, and others working with her have done a great job. But we brought eggs down at a level that nobody thought we could get at. I inherited that situation, and I inherited a grocery situation. The groceries went way up, an old-fashioned word, but it's a very descriptive word. Groceries have gone through the roof. And I used to campaign on it. I used to say we're going to get groceries down, and we have got it down. I watched a certain newscast over the weekend, and a congressman, Democrat congressman, said, well, Trump's done a lot, I agree. He's been great on the border, he's been great on the military, but you know he hasn't brought prices down. That's false. Gasoline's way down. Eggs are way down. Groceries are down, very substantially, but down. Almost everything's down. Now, I'd like to see interest rates come down a little bit, and you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars coming into our country very soon in the form of tariffs, because we were abused by presidents, and frankly, in all fairness, it wasn't their expertise, but they had no idea what they were doing.
Mr. President, you say tariffs will create more jobs here in America.
Oh,
so
yeah, sure.
Which
So
states?
It'll create a lot of money and more jobs. But if you look, so in the last, these gentlemen would know about it, and ladies, because some of the ladies are great businessmen in this room that are becoming ambassadors. Great, really great, top of the line. When you look at the number of companies that have said, like we're close to, I would say close to $4 trillion. We never had numbers like that. The #1 chip maker in the world from Taiwan coming in with $200 billion. We have Apple. Look at Apple. $500 billion. $500 billion. They're going to build plants all over the United States. They were all being built in China. You have many, many companies, and maybe above all, you have the car companies coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have Honda is opening up one of the biggest plants in the world in Indiana, and many car companies are coming in. We have AI. We're leading China by a lot in AI, and we're going to keep it that way because we've made it very good for them, and we're going to protect them. Once they're here, we'll protect them through taxes, through incentives, and also through tariffs. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. You all set to go? This is
ready when you are.
Okay, we're ready. We have the Prime Minister on the phone, and we have a nice hookup. This looks like the kind of a hookup that's not going to be causing any problems. And your voice comes through beautifully, Keir. So I just want to.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is. You sound great. I just want to begin by saying that this is a very special day because it's Victory Day, World War II, May 8th. And just by happenstance, we have the Prime Minister on the phone, and we were great allies in that. And it's very unusual that the trade deal comes due, and we signed it up on the same day that we had a great victory, the greatest victory of them all. So we are talking more and more about Victory Day because we were a big part of it, and so was the UK. And it's just, I guess, I don't know what you call it. It's just incredible that that day is the same day that we signed a tremendous trade deal for both countries. So I'm going to begin by just adding that we just concluded the rare earth deal with Ukraine. That's been fully ratified and approved by their legislative branches, and so we appreciate that, and I'll be speaking with the president in a little while, a little bit later, and we appreciate that, but the deal is all now signed up and ratified, and we have access to a massive amount of very, very high quality rare earth. This morning I'm thrilled to announce that we've reached a breakthrough trade deal with the United Kingdom, incredible country. Today is a victory day for World War II. We won the war together exactly 80 years ago, so there could be no more perfect morning to reach this historic agreement. And it's beautiful weather out, I will tell you that, Keir. Beautiful weather. It's so perfect outside. But it's really, in particular, the agreement with one of our closest and most cherished allies. And we're so happy that that's the way it worked out. I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer and his very talented team for their outstanding work and partnership. Today's agreement with the UK is the first in a series of agreements on trade that my administration has been negotiating over the past 4 weeks. With this deal, the UK joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade. The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. And our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed, and they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very important, and we feel very, very comfortable with that because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people by saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top, and they're the first one we're talking about. And by the way, we have many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very, very interesting. Let's find out, but I think they want to make a deal very badly, too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen, and we haven't. We've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter. The special relationship and external bond, it's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional. And it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries. And I think it's a real tribute to the history that we have of working so closely together. Can I pay tribute, Donald, to your negotiating team as well, particularly yes. Howard and Jameson, who've done an incredible job, a very professional job, and my team as well. Two negotiating teams have worked at pace now for a number of weeks to bring in this deal today. Really important deal. This is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's going to not only protect jobs but create jobs, opening market access. And as you say, Donald, the timing couldn't be more apt, because not only was it 80 years ago today that victory came for Europe after and at the end of the Second World War, but of course on that day the UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think even down to the hour, because you may or may not know that it was about this time of day, exactly 80 years ago, that Winston Churchill announced victory in Europe, and that led to great celebrations across Europe, across America, but particularly in the United Kingdom. Literally people going out into the street, putting bunting up, going up to the palace. And so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with the UK and the US standing side by side, I think is incredibly important and makes this truly historic. That close relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defence and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into new and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our relationship. It is built, as you say, on those notions of fairness and reciprocal arrangements. We've always had a fair and balanced arrangement between our countries. This builds on that, hugely important for sectors like car manufacturing and for steel and aluminium and so many others. And yes, we can finish hammering out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here, including, of course, on the tech side, where I think I'm right in saying we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar sectors when it comes to tech. And in the end, it comes down to, as you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that this deal on trade and the economy. And I want to thank you for your leadership on that, Donald, and for the way in which your team have negotiated this. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal, we've finalised it, and we've built an incredible platform for the future. So thank you so much. Donald, I'm now going to go and do a press conference. I think you have your press in with you, but on the details, I think if you've got Howard, we can deal with that through one of my team.
That's great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're going to have a continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but the U.S. and U.K. have been working for years to try and make a deal. And it never quite got there, but it did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this President, this Prime Minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
That's right.
And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So, Donald, thank you so much. It's really good to have got this deal over the line. Tribute to both teams, tribute to our countries, and tribute to your leadership.
Thank you. Well, it really is a great thing. And you go do your press conference, and I'll see you soon. Maybe speak to you later. But thank you very much. An incredible thing. I can't tell you that for so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked and talked and talked about a deal with, it just seemed like a natural deal, but it was not done. But now it was done with us. So I feel very proud to have been a part of it. Keir, thank you very much.
Thanks, Donald, and we'll speak again soon.
Very good. So long. Bye. Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, give a little description of the deal pretty quick, and then the good side, the very nice side, we'll be speaking about it also, maybe, from so you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very, it's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to that I would have thought. I was surprised. I think it's why the deal never got done before. It was, you know, they've been working on this deal for 25 years. And we got it done, and we got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries. So, Howard, if you could go, and then somebody else, you may have, you'll pick whoever you want who'd like to do it. I have a feeling you're going to do it, right? So you guys go ahead, and then we'll take questions right after that. But I think you'll get a pretty good understanding of how big it is. It's a very large deal, very big deal. And Howard, go ahead.
So the UK is the 6th largest economy in the world and the 4th largest that we export to, right? So it's a huge market, a top 10 market. If you remember Liberation Day, they were at 10% because we have balanced trade with the UK, right? They say they have a surplus, but of course that counts gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade. So how do you open up a market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access, ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before. And we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States. So the idea was, how do they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way is they studied it, their team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why were they always favoring others and not us? And what they've done is they've found the ways to do that so that we have new access, right? But the UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So we did a deal with them in automobiles, and you know, if you're not building here, we charge you a 25% tariff. But the president, and by the way, I want to make this clear, while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal, and people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left, and if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister and getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business, he understands deals, and that's why we're here today. So he agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America and only pay a 10% tariff. And that protects their car industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%. But for the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them. So he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum, right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets. And British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match the kinds of models we do. They'll put tariffs on, they'll put quotas on. They want to do it with America so they can be part of the resurgence of steel and aluminum in America, and that saves them, again, thousands and thousands of jobs. So if you go step by step, aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free. And what you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement in the UK that they are buying $10 billion worth of Boeing planes later today, but I'm going to let the name of the airline announce it because that's theirs to do it. Part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong, and you can see the numbers on this board. Everything about this board works exceptionally well for the United States of America. It lays out the plan that you can work with us in autos, you can work with us with aero and commercial, you can work with us in pharmaceuticals if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister, he feels really good about the deal, right? And we started at 10% and we ended at 10%. And the market for America is better, and this is a perfect example of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand he gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe, and instead we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we work for Donald Trump. So Jameson, my partner in all this, maybe Jameson, you'd like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that. Everyone has had great remarks. I just have to echo the President and the Prime Minister when we talk about VE Day. This is something we've been waiting for decades, and there is no more appropriate day to do this. And when we step back and we look back a few weeks from now or months from now or years from now, we're going to look back at this day and better appreciate the significance, I think. And I'll just say as well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, you know, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you win wars, right? When you act like this, and the ambassador, he knows more about trade than a lot of us here, based on his background. And I would say on this deal, Mr. President, what we've shown is that it is time to change the way we do trade. People said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no one would want to deal with us. People want a deal. They said no one give offers. You saw that stack of offers I showed you yesterday, all those countries. Said we wouldn't get deals, and here we are with a deal with the 6th largest economy. We've agreed to have fair and reciprocal trade, and we've done it in record time.
Thank you very much. Sir. Great job.
Thanks.
Mr. Ambassador, please.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much indeed in hosting us this morning. And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the President, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So thank you for that. The Prime Minister was delighted, obviously, to take that call later tonight. But you took it to another level, and I think the point I would make is twofold. One is that if we're going to rebalance and rebuild international trade in a way that serves all our interests, then we're better doing that together than separately and apart, and that's what we're on a mission to do. But secondly, you've done what you said you would do. You said to the Prime Minister when he came and we visited in the Oval, that you would do a good trade deal with the United Kingdom, that you would do it at pace, and that we would be first. And you have delivered that. You know, you've been true to your word. So Thank you very much indeed for that. For us, it's not the end, it's it's the end just of the beginning. I mean, there is yet more we can do in reducing tariffs and trade barriers so as to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today. But it also provides us with the platform, the springboard, to do what I think will be even more valuable for both our countries in the future, and that's creating a technology partnership between the United States and the United Kingdom, so that we can harness science and technology in order to create future industries and future jobs, and to do that together in the way we work so closely already in the national security and defense area. We can just take that to yet further areas of science, enterprise and endeavor. So we're looking forward to doing that in the coming months. You've launched us extremely well today. It just, in my view, as the Prime Minister has said, just shows what two countries who trust each other, who are confident in each other and are familiar with each other can do, not just for ourselves, but for those, the rest of the world, who need to benefit from a bigger and better international trading system.
Thank you very much. It was beautifully stated. What a beautiful accent, too. I'd like to have that accent. Thank you.
My mother would be proud.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
James Matthews from Sky News.
Yes.
Can I ask, why Britain and why now? And you described this deal as a full and comprehensive deal, and yet we've just heard from Mr. Mandelson, it's the end of the beginning. Clearly, there's much more work still to do. With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time?
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. One of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture. I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very impressed by that. But we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made, there'll be adjustments made, because we're flexible. We'll see things that we can do even better. But it's very conclusive, and we think everyone's going to be happy, and the people of your country are going to be very impressed with the result, and they'll be able to buy from more people. They'll be able to price things differently. They'll be able to get some products that aren't available to them now, that we make better than anybody in the world. And it's just something that it's a great thing that it came together. It's so nice, because we have many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one, to be honest with you. But it's a long time, our oldest ally, or just about. I guess a couple of people claim that too, but let's put it right at the top. I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. How close are you to more deals, and when do you expect the next to be announced?
Well, very close. We have numerous deals. I know Howard's going back. As soon as this is finished, your press conference, he's got numerous. And Scott, who's right over here, who's fantastic, by the way. You were great on television this morning. I watched you. That was you gave them a little lesson in the world and economics. But Scott's going to be going to Switzerland, meeting with China. And, they very much want to make a deal. We can all play games. Who made the first call? Who didn't make it doesn't matter. It only matters what happens in that room. But I will tell you that China very much wants to make a deal. We'll see how that works out. Every country throughout the last 40, 50 years has literally ripped off the United States on trade, on military, on protection, on all the different things. And we are now making fair deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting. And they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of that decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States. And they were unable to do that. But now they made it. And it's a tremendous, it's very important. That was always a big part of your decision on Brexit. And they were never able to make that deal. It was a tough one. And this one it's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly. And a lot of common sense, as I like to say. It's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade, and it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade, too. Yes,
Thank you. For
behind you.
Tom Bateman at the BBC. Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned meat.
You with who?
The BBC.
Oh, good. Very nice. They treat me beautifully.
You mentioned meat and beef exports. The UK currently doesn't accept American beef because of its own food standards. Are you calling on the UK to accept all American beef and chicken products?
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every classification you can have. As you know, Bobby Kennedy is doing a tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system with no chemical, no this, no that. And I think we're heading that way. It seems to be. And but we have that also. We're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes, yes.
Do you want me to jump in?
Yes.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins, by the way. How important this deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world. So I think a really important part of this deal isn't just the ethanol reducing of tariffs from 19 to 0, which for our row croppers is a huge deal, but also for beef. And as we move forward, I know our incredible trade team is looking at all of the meats, all of the produce, really all of our agriculture exports. And I don't know if there's an industry that has been treated more unfairly and has suffered more than our agriculture industry. So we look forward to, I'll be in the UK on Monday, talking to my counterpart over there for next week, and look forward to moving that out across the country. The president is
I think we could say that we have the best in the world, best tractors, the best everything in the world, and they say that our agriculture is second to none. You understand, and it'll be a great asset. People are going to be able to have options, choice, and they'll have more of it. And that usually means lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you? Go ahead.
Follow-up question for the Italian TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000, Primetime Media. So congratulations for the deal. We see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like they're losing the train.
We intend to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly, very difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently. So that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. but this was separate because of Brexit in particular. This was a separate deal. It always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why did this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen a long time ago? And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got to make a deal. We have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The Prime Minister did a fantastic job. His representatives are total professionals, and they got along well, and it just seemed to work. And I think one of the reasons it did is because we blew up the whole system. If we would have just been dealing with you separately, or country by country, we blew up the whole system. It was very fair to the very unfair to the United States. And I think because of that, this worked out so nicely. And I'm honored that it was the first deal. Please.
Sir, you mentioned...
Well, why don't you go in the back, yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm with the London Times. I would say this is a great day for James Bond because now Aston Martins will be available to American buyers. But with it clearly even better by extending it to film. You've talked about a big tariff on films, and we'd like to know if there'd be relief on British.
Well, we're going to have a discussion on that separately. And as you know, we're putting tariffs on that particular film, you said, the movie makers. And we're going to be doing some tariffs to get them because a lot of them have left this country. They all live here. The money comes from here. Everything comes from here, but they make them in other countries. So we're going to do something to bring them back, maybe to a large extent. But James Bond has nothing to worry about that, I can tell you. James Bond. And Sean Connery was a friend of mine. Sean Connery was responsible for my getting zoning in Aberdeen. He said, let the bloody bloke build his golf courses. And, I was like 4 years into the process, and it was impossible in Aberdeen. And he just stood up one day and he said that. As soon as he said that, I got the approvals in about 2 minutes. So he was a great guy, Sean Connery, and great character.
Later in the year, are you going to Scotland and to the UK?
I will be, sure. It's great. We have a lot of investment over there. We have Turnberry, Aberdeen. We have, as you know, in Doonbeg in Ireland, right on the ocean. They're all on the ocean. I only have interest if they're on the ocean. And we have good investments over there. It's been beautiful. Yes?
Mr. President, if the talks go well this weekend between Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer with their Chinese counterparts, not preemptively, but if the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I always got along very well with President Xi. That relationship was greatly disturbed by COVID when COVID came in, but we get along very well now. I mean, the relationship was hurt with a lot of people, a lot of countries when COVID came in, but I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way. China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we just can't have that. And but I think it's going to be very good for both countries. I would like to see China opened. One of the big things here is, and nobody would know this, but the UK was largely closed. It was very much closed to trade, and now it's opened. And a lot of the financial reporters are very happy about that because so much. I listened to them. I hope they get countries opened up. And then you compete on a fair basis, but you can't compete when you're not allowed to go there. China would be the number one example of that. It's very closed. We almost had it last time before COVID, and that didn't work out. But we made a great deal with China. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our food products, and it was a great deal, doing very well for our farmers. And then when Biden came in, as usual, nothing happened. He didn't enforce it. And it got less, and ultimately, it destroyed a great deal. That was a great deal. But no, I think that we're going to have a good weekend with China. I think they have a lot to gain. I do think they have far more to gain than we do, in a sense. But we're going to have I think we're going to have a very good weekend.
Will you speak to Xi after the weekend talks?
I might. Yeah, sure. Depending on what Scott says, we Scott is doing certain countries, and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each. Then we could do them all at one time. But there will be a time we'll do a number of them, and then there'll be a time. I think I can say this, Scott and Howard, where we're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want. where we're just going to make the deal. In other words, we don't need the country involvement because we've already had it. And we'll say this particular country, which had big surpluses, let's say, we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff or a 30% or a 50% or 10% or whatever it may be. This was, I think we should explain it now. One of the things we did here that we'll rarely do is on cars, we took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that. You know, it's a very special car, and it's a very limited number too. It's not, you know, one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar. So we have some very special cars. So in order to help that industry, and that's really, you know, handmade stuff. And they've been doing it for a long time in the same location. And I said, yeah, that would be good. Let's help them out with that one. But that's different than a car company that comes out and makes millions of cars, which they'll be doing in our country. They're going to build, we have many factories, car plants being built or going to be built very soon. I think we can say that we'll be close to $10 trillion of investment. I think we're actually at that number now if you add up some of the ones we haven't heard about yet. I mean, we have some going up right now. They have plants going up, and they haven't even spoken to us. They're doing it because of the tariffs. And tariffs have always been used against us, and I never understood. I used to sit back. As you know, China paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs when I was president. But until then, China never paid anything. And, you know, they really did a big number on us from the standpoint of trade. But we are using tariffs now for our benefit. And we have now close to $10 trillion. Think of that, $10 trillion. If you look at the past administration, and we're talking about over, you know, essentially 2 months, because we could say 3, but it took a little while to get the office in perfect shape, right? It took a little while to get things done. But once we started, when you think of that, close to $10 trillion of investment, you've had years where the United States wouldn't do that wouldn't do $1 trillion in a year, wouldn't do anywhere near $1 trillion. We did $10 trillion in 2 months. So it's amazing what's happening. We're getting calls from, and that has to do with chips, has to do with cars. We used to make chips. We had Intel, and we used to make chips. We had a monopoly on chips. Everything was made here, and now, over a period of years, because of presidents that didn't know what they were doing, they allowed that business to be stolen from us. Most of it moved to Taiwan. And you probably were in the same position, right? Because you had a lot of the chip making capacity, but they moved it in. And if we would have said, that's fine, if you want to move it to Taiwan, that's good. But if you want to sell back into the United States, we're going to put a 50% or 100% tariff on, they would have never left. But we had people sitting here that didn't understand that, and it's too bad. But now they're coming back because I'm saying it about 40 years too late. But they're coming back. As you know, we have the biggest chip makers in the world spending, in one case, $300 billion, in one case, $500 billion, same as Apple, and in another case, $200 billion. And we're going to have a large share, a very, very substantial share of the chip making market.
This weekend is going to be a friendly visit, but do you expect that it will just be a formality to break the ice, or are they going to get into substantive negotiations?
I believe so, yes. I believe it's substantive, yes. I think people like to say, yes, we're having a meeting to meet. Well, we're meeting, so what are we going to do? Talk about meeting again? I think it's going to be substantive. I think we can say that, right, Scott? Very substantive. Now, China wants to do something. And look, they have to at this point. You know, essentially, they made $1 trillion a year, and now they have absolutely, you know, no business because of the tariffs. They have no business, and they want to have business. And we want them to have business. We want them to do well. We want them to do very well. So I think it's going to be very substantive.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned.
In China.
But we're seeing, as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
Yeah, no, that means we lose less money. You know, when I see that, that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to a trillion or a trillion one. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can. I'd like to say they can do better, actually, in terms of the bottom line. We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, give people something that they've never had, access to something. That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses. And I think it would be great for friendship. I really expect a lot of people think I'm a militant guy. I'm really not. I think that trade can bring a greater friendship with China. It can be something good. But, one of the things that I know Scott's going to be talking about very high on the list is open up and let our businesses go into China, because when you talk about a closed country, that's a really closed country. And I think it would be great if it was opened up. It would give people a lot of choice and would create a lot of jobs, a lot of everything. So I think it would be a great thing for China. And that's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing, like we discussed with UK. Yeah, please.
So what does Britain have to do for you to drop the baseline 10% tariff that you're maintaining?
Well, I think that's set because that has to do with a lot of different things, including past. There are a lot of past things that we talk. This is very inclusive. We included everything, and that's pretty well set. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, the 10% baseline tariff remaining in place, is that a template for these future trade deals? You say you're going to keep it here.
No.
Is it going to stay in every case?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal. Some will be much higher because they have massive trade surpluses, and in many cases they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had somewhat closed, not like a China as an example, but they always treated us with great respect.
So
they treated us with great respect. The template of 10 is probably the lowest end, and therefore they made that deal. But they we've had just a very special relationship with them. Like, I won't do that deal with cars. I mean, unless somebody shows me that there's another kind of a car that's comparable to a Rolls-Royce. And there aren't too many. This is a good commercial for Rolls-Royce. They're going to order a lot of cars.
Mr. President, I wonder whether you'd like to buy.
Well, the last time this happened, I ended up.
I would be happy to suggest a discount, obviously a very modest discount. We have to protect our profit margins.
I've had many of them, actually. The last time that happened, I ended up buying a Tesla. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mary Margaret Ollahan with Daily Wire. I had a question about the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion. I know the VP is really interested in that, talked about that earlier this year. Was there any assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation from start to finish, closed by the president yesterday. This was a business deal, open their markets, and also protect their workers, grow our markets, and help our workers.
This was about business religion. Business is sort of a semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself in there. Go ahead. In the back.
Mr. President, will you be asking China to help you close, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure. I don't know. I think we're making good progress. The fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. And without our involvement, they'd be able to get it, because we supplied a lot of different things foolishly, but we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000. It's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional who's got a great relationship with both countries. and I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work a deal. I want them to be very successful.
Mr. President, Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. Yes. On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend, and what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country, and that was sort of easy. It wasn't. We had non-market. I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers, and we had quite a few of them. Not nearly as bad as some countries. Some countries have, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal you can't do business with them, right? So it's a very important question, actually. No, I think the overall deal just worked out very well from their standpoint. They were willing to give that in order to get other things, and you might want to speak to that, Mr. Ambassador.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It continues. And we're both committed to freeing up trade between our countries. We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries. And the point about this deal is that it provides a very good template and a very good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future. And that's what we're both determined to do.
When the 11th hour deal.
Many of the, well, I better not say.
That's between us.
Many of these, we'll keep it confidential. How about just one more little thing, right? It got the deal closed, and it was handled very well from the other side, too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when, if you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years. And especially around the time of Brexit. They wanted to make a deal, so they came out of Brexit and they make a deal, and it was how natural. And it just couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before. It's a big deal.
Virtually everyone said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears, and it's ended in exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
But, Mr. President, can I say that that is due to Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer, who've been absolutely fantastic. But
right.
Yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific. Right?
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren?
Right here.
Hello, Warren.
How are you?
He's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
Mr. President.
And?
Were you disappointed?
And he's got plenty of cash. That guy's plenty of cash.
We need some more big spenders.
Yeah, go
Are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen?
You're going to go ahead fast.
Yes, are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen, the president, or do you plan to cancel anytime soon?
Oh, she's so fantastic, right? She's so fantastic. I hope we're going to meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet, yeah. The European Union is a big thing. They want to make a deal very badly. You know, everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that, and we're going to make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one. Go ahead, please.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. President, says that you would have to call him for a meeting. Do you plan to meet with him? And what do you think about?
And it's like talking to a wall. He should be.
What do you think about not cutting? The Bank of England cut today.
Well, the Bank of England cut. China cut. Everybody's cutting but him. It's I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I call him Too Late, Too Late Powell, that's his nickname, and it's a shame, it's ridiculous. So, meeting, he's always too late. But in this case, it's not going to matter that much because our country is so strong we're so powerful in terms of economic strength and what we've done. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't have our first term, you wouldn't be. We created things in the first term. We cut more regulations than any president in history. We cut the taxes more than anybody in history. And a very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it, which is all-encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history, bigger than even the first time, and the incentives, even great for the UK, because it'll make us so strong that we're going to be doing more business with you. It's a very important element for taxes, for every aspect, regulation cuts. That bill is, I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know, we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. You know, if we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. He's welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. But it's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing, unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country zoom. It's going to be incentive, as you know, with the deduction for, basically for work. You work, you build, you plant, etc., your deduction. It's going to be the biggest, it's the biggest bill of its kind ever passed, maybe the biggest bill ever passed. That's why we call it the one big, beautiful bill.
You just announced a new nominee for the U.S. Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her to be America's top doctor?
Because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford. And Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her yesterday and once before. She's a very outstanding person, a great academic, actually. So I think she'll be great.
Mr. President, your nominee for U.S. Attorney of D.C., do you have a backup plan if this Senate does not?
But he's a terrific person, and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought. You know, he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in D.C. During his period of time. I'm very disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. You know, I'm one person. I can only I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great. I just want to say Ed is unbelievable, and hopefully we can bring him into, whether it's DOJ or whatever, in some capacity, because really outstanding. To me, it was disappointing, I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed. But that's the way it works sometimes, you know. That's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but we felt it would be hard. And we have somebody else that we'll be announcing over the next 2 days who's going to be great.
With companies like Ford and Mattel recently saying they're going to raise prices on certain products, how long do you think the American public is going to be patient and wait for you?
Well, I think they're saying that just to try and negotiate deals with me. They're not. Look, tariffs are the most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't pick it up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did that, they wouldn't sell any cars. And if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said, they're the only country I've heard, they said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long. The Ford people I know very well, what they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that. But we don't think that's going to happen. Look, I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down, eggs are down. I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up like 170% and going up, and they said don't order any for Easter. And we were thinking about ordering plastic eggs like everybody was doing. And Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job. And we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn just 2 weeks ago at Easter. But you take a look at the cost. Energy's down. Even interest rates are down. Now, if the chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel. It would be great. But he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me. I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like, it would be like jet fuel. But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, prices are going to go through. Well, groceries are down. All of this stuff is down. Lumber is down. Oil is gone to, we have that thing broke 60, right? $60 a barrel. And $1.98, $1.99 in some cases. And heading in that direction. No, I think it's been amazing, actually. And what that's good for, it gives the consumer more money, and it gives them a better life. Because we just came out of the worst inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. They say 48 years. But Biden really screwed it up. He screwed up energy. And he also he spent too much money. He was spending it on, a green new scam. And that's like throwing the money. See that beautiful window behind? Take money, throw it right out that window. Because it's the same thing. He spent $10 trillion. He wasted it. Not only was it bad, it was a negative. It wasn't even like it helped a little bit. It was a real negative. And then on top of it, they let 21 million people into our country without any identification, anything. Just let them in. It's very, very sad. Well, we'll do one or two more. Go ahead. Who are you with?
I'm with the Daily Telegraph. Now, you know me from another
I do.
How concerned are you about the UK's reliance on China? Chinese money in the money markets, Chinese exports.
We're not concerned.
Is that something that came up in
honestly,
discussions?
I'm not concerned about anything. If I was, I wouldn't even be here right now. If I was concerned about anything, and it wouldn't be that, but I wouldn't be here right now. No, we're not concerned. We're going to have, I believe, a very good relationship with China, and a fair relationship, and it'll get bigger and it'll grow. It'll grow. As an example, if they open up the country, that'll be the best thing China ever did for itself. They don't know that yet because, it's been a different system. But that'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to China. The people will be happier. They'll buy for less. They'll see things that they never saw before, and they'll be buying them. And it'll really create great long-term peace.
And if I could ask one of the Agriculture Secretary, actually, there's a lot of concern about chlorinated chicken, the import of hormone-treated beef. Has that question been addressed, resolved in these talks, or is that something for the continuing negotiations?
Well,
James.
I would just say that it's very clear, and we have in the heads of terms that we are going to discuss all of these types of issues, and obviously the importing country, whether it's us or them, you got to follow the rules on those types of things. But our point is the rules need to make sure that they are based on science, and that's our expectation. We know the UK believes that too, so we want to come to an accommodation. We want the consumers in each country to be able to choose what they want and give them the information that they want.
And we have an incredible EPA led by Administrator Zeldin that is on this. So the talks continue, but we are very, very confident in our products and what the president has done to open up the markets. is unprecedented for these farmers here in America. Thank you.
Mr. Wall Street, as they watched this, you saw the stock market decline sharply after Liberation Day, and it's rallied back since then.
Well, now it's going to really rally because, don't forget, they said this is all a pipe dream. And this is a tough one. This is, somebody would say, well, this is easy. This is much tougher, I think, than any other deal because they've been at it for so many years, decades, trying to make this deal. And it's very conclusive, and it's a great deal, and it's a very big deal, actually. And no, this is just the beginning. We're going to be having conferences, or at some point we won't have. We'll just put out a statement that we just signed this country, that country, and after a number of these are done, nobody has enough people to do it. We're just going to put out X country is going to pay this, and if they open up, they're going to do this and that, and they're going to be open up. Everybody wants to be here. I say this is where they want to be shopping. They want to shop in this country because we have the consumer. And we have the consumer like nobody else. And, if this country went bad, the whole world would go bad. But we really saved it from going bad. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you about the air traffic control issue? Are you looking at getting new software?
I'm glad you asked me about it because I'm just going to be talking to now the heads of the airlines and everything else. So I was all set before we had the rigged election to give out a brand new gorgeous system to one company that was going to do the whole thing, one of the best companies in the world that you know very well. There are 3 or 4 of them that do it. And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party. But he didn't know what he was doing. And he took what they call dry systems where you have wires in the earth, buried in the earth or whatever. And then you have the open air systems where you have satellites. And you can't mesh them. Anybody would know that if you went through about 2 months of study in school, if you studied that kind of thing. And he did. They spent tens of billions of dollars trying to take old, broken equipment and merging it into existing new equipment with brand new equipment. It's one of the greatest. They spent like $40 billion. And what they did is they made it worse because it doesn't work together. You can't make it work together. If you have a satellite system, you need satellite. If you don't, they had all these different technologies, some of them 50 years old, and they're trying to mesh them in. And they end up spending twice the money they should have. You could have bought a whole new system. So we have a very good guy who you all know, Sean Duffy, is head of transportation. And I've given him a 10-minute lesson in buying, and he's become really good. And we are now in the market to buy a gorgeous, brand new system. The helicopter that crashed into the plane at 400 feet, it shouldn't have been. What would have happened is all sorts of bells and sirens would have been going off 3 minutes before that accident happened, if you had the right equipment, but they didn't. And the new equipment is unbelievable what it does. You don't even, well, I was going to say something, but you always, in my opinion, you always need pilots. I want pilots. But you wouldn't even have to have pilots. This system is so incredible what they can do. But we have a system that's obsolete. And what they did is the worst. They tried to combine the really old, broken stuff with the new stuff, and you can't combine it, and anybody should have known. So Biden, do you think Biden figured this out? I don't think so, fellas. Do you think he has any clue? He doesn't know what the hell's happening. So here's the story. We're going to be buying a brand new, it's going out to bid very soon, brand new state-of-the-art system that will cover the entire world. I'll give you an example. When my pilot, now I have military pilots, but prior to that I have very good pilots, great pilots. They would land, and I won't tell you which country, but they would use the system of another country. They wouldn't even use the system of the United States. So if I'm landing in New York or Florida or Tennessee, they're using a system from another country. I said, why is that? And they were, they're not into business, but they're just saying, our system doesn't work, sir. And I said, boy, that's pretty sad. But we were all set to give it out to, look, you have a Raytheon and you have different companies like that, numerous companies. And you have companies that would do it, like an IBM, as an example. And you give out one deal, one contract. They gave out hundreds of contractors. They had diggers. They had non-diggers. They had people that focused on satellites. They had hundreds of different contracts. One contract where one guy is controlling everything. If you need a trench, then they dig a trench. But if you don't dig the trench, they don't blame you. What happens is you don't dig it, then they say we want a cost overrun. Now, we have it all set, and we're going to be doing it. We would have done it, except that the election took a little strange turn. But the second one didn't. That was too big to rig. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you, I was so happy to get it. The 2026 FIFA World Cup. And it's going to be the World Cup as we know it. It's the biggest, probably the biggest event in sports, I guess, Johnny, right?
Yeah.
On December 5th of this year, the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw will take place at the Kennedy Center. Some people refer to it as the Trump Kennedy Center, but we're not prepared to do that quite yet, maybe in a week or so. But right here in Washington, D.C., it's a tremendous honor to bring the global event and this incredible group of people and these unbelievable athletes, the best athletes in the world, to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. Zero, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. Zero murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened, if you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government, run it like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible. It was a crime-infested rat hole. And they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them, too. And we've made a lot of progress. And it was extremely unsafe, and now it's extremely safe. We had virtually no crime. The number was down 87%, and I'm trying to figure out where was the 13%, because I don't think it existed. The National Guard has been unbelievable, and they're working with the police. And they have some very good people in there. They have some people that shouldn't be police, actually, but they have some great people there. And the Washington, D.C. is a whole different place. And Johnny, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that too, actually.
Oh, yes.
But it's a whole different place. People are excited again. They're going out to restaurants again. That was the other thing I saw numbers. That restaurant business is down in the last week. No. Restaurant business, you can't get into a restaurant. Just really lying people. And that's why people don't understand how bad and how dishonest the press is. I saw one poll that had us at 19% favorable on what we're doing with Washington. Then I saw another one that has us 94% favorable. And I can tell you the 94% is correct. The others are fake, just fake news. They got to get their act together. So bad for our country, so sick, actually. So Washington, D.C. is really doing unbelievably well. And the Kennedy Center that we're fixing, I was just there all morning with contractors. We're making it unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. It's got great bones, but it needs a lot of work. The World Cup draw will set up the group stage of competition. 48 teams will play in 104 games across 16 North American cities, from Seattle to Vancouver to Atlanta to Miami. It's going to be so exciting for our country. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be one of the largest and most complex events. This will be one of the greatest events, one of the largest. In a way, it's like Johnny said it better. It's like having many Super Bowls in a short period of time. Because each one of these games essentially is a Super Bowl. Some of them are bigger than Super Bowls, actually. But they're essentially, each one of these games is like a Super Bowl. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be the largest, most complex set of events in sports history. And the Kennedy Center will give it a phenomenal kickoff, and we'll be involved, and they'll be working over there for quite a bit of time. We have it all set that they can stay there for the big events, the big press conferences and everything else. And they'll be in a very safe capital. That will be nice. You don't have to worry about walking down the street, Johnny, okay?
Thank you.
But you could handle yourself.
I could.
Okay. Already, FIFA is projecting 6 million loyal fans will attend the World Cup events next year, and 6 billion more are going to be watching back home, and they think the $6 billion number is going to be actually a low number. And this will drive more than $30 billion into the U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs in a short period of time, too. No sporting event attracts more attention, more fans, more viewers, or more revenue than the FIFA World Cup. And again, I'll just say it's the World Cup, and it's the biggest thing there is in sports, and we have it. And I got it in my first administration, and I was really somewhat devastated, as devastated as I can be. I don't have time to get too devastated. I was very happy that today, as you saw, the group that does this, a government group, radical left group, announced that Trump was right. Took in $4 trillion worth of tariffs, that the $4 trillion are going to reduce the deficit by numbers far greater than they ever expected or heard of. And by the way, the stock market went up 1,000 points. That was as of 10 minutes ago. I can't tell you what happened. A lot of things happened. But the stock market's up almost 1,000 points. And it's basically on the news that the release that just came out from government that the tariffs that everybody was talking about, that the whole world respects us for because of what we did. The tariffs are going to be at $4 trillion. They're going to reduce the deficit by $4 trillion, Mr. Vice President. What do you think? Sir. Too bad it's not 5, right?
That's right.
It's had a huge impact, and the stock market is way up. But this will drive more than $30 billion in U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs. No sporting event attracts more attention or more fans or anything else. And I just look forward to the draw. So we're going to have the draw, essentially, Johnny, at the Kennedy Center. Yep. And by that time, it'll be in even better shape. We're working on it. It's about a year project to make it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. You see the way this is looking? Look, nice. I can't tell you how much that gold costs. A lot of money. There's nothing like gold, and there's nothing like solid gold. But this beautiful office needed it. It had to be representative. When we took it over, it was dirty, not clean. I immediately changed the chair and had this beautiful desk renovated and brought out by the White House. People that do this, they did a great job to send it out. We have a craftsman who's great. But this was not appropriate for the Oval Office when I took over. And now you look at all those paintings you're allowed to turn back. All of these are great presidents, and they were all in the vaults. They were in vaults for some cases much more than 100 years. And now they're proudly hanging on the Oval Office walls, and I can't imagine anybody changing it. But they were buried in vaults for over 100 years, many of them. So it's very exciting. People come in, they really love it. They love what we're doing here. They love what we're doing in D.C., and they love what we're doing, most importantly, in the country and the world. I'd like to ask Johnny to say a few words. He's the head of the whole thing. He's been there for a long time, probably the most respected man in sports. He's amazing, actually. Works very hard, and he's got the biggest event in the world coming right here to the United States. And we did a little for Canada. We did a little for Mexico. We thought, see, I'm a good citizen. I said, let them have a little piece. So we gave a little to Canada. See how nice I am? And we gave a little bit to Mexico. And Johnny, please say a few words.
Thank you, President. Great honor for me to be here with you today, President, Vice President, Excellencies. Fantastic to announce what you said, which is the final draw of the FIFA World Cup on the 5th of December here in the capital, in the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. at 12 noon sharp. It will be broadcast live all over the world. 1 billion viewers will watch it, and it will determine, of course, the match schedule, which 48 participating teams will play. You said it, 104 matches in 1 month, 104 Super Bowls. This is not just the biggest, the greatest event, not just a sports event, it's a social event as well, with a lot of emotion. We are uniting the world, Mr. President, uniting the world here in America, and we are very proud of that. And those teams, those national teams who will come here to participate in this draw with their coaches, with their presidents, they will all be proud to be part of writing this history. And that's why we brought as well this, which is the winner's trophy. It is the trophy that the winner of the FIFA World Cup wins. Only the FIFA president, presidents of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in the White House.
Can I keep it?
For you. Well, you can keep it.
We're not giving it back. We're not giving it back. That's serious.
It fits well.
That goes very well on the wall right over there. We'll put it right below the angels.
It fits well here.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
You can keep it until we have to give it to the next winner.
That's fine. That's a beautiful piece of gold, I will say. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So 6 billion viewers for the World Cup, 6 million coming to the matches, 30 billion economic impact, 185,000 jobs. This will be absolutely fantastic. The biggest event ever, and everything will start here in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, or the Trump Kennedy Center. We'll see that how it will be called on the 5th of September at noon sharp. 5th of December, noon sharp. Then, if I may...
Will they be doing most of the draws, all of the draws at the Kennedy? How are you going to do that?
Yes, we'll do that at the Kennedy Center. We'll do all the other meetings around it with the coaches, with the broadcasters, with the sponsors, everything at the Kennedy Center. The whole World Cup starts, and everyone will be happy because everyone has qualified for the World Cup and they didn't yet play a game, so they didn't lose yet a game. So they all think they can become world champion, right?
They'll all be happy.
Exactly. Now,
by the way, an example, supposing we had a week ago when everybody was being killed and mugged and everything else, despite the phony numbers that were given out, that it was getting better. Brian, do you believe it was getting better or getting worse?
Oh, the crime was getting worse. I mean, I was robbed. It was getting way worse.
How did the other guy come out?
Well, he came out with a briefcase, unfortunately. Yeah. So, Robert 1, Brian 0.
No, but can you imagine you do this and then you start hearing that they had a 20-year reduction of crime. It's worse. It was worse during the Biden administration than anybody's ever imagined possible. And I guarantee you he wouldn't be here if those numbers continued. But now we have total safety. We have total security. And for the border, in 3 months, 0 people. These are done by liberal people that do these charts. 0 people came through our border in the last 90 days. Can you believe it? 0. Last year we had millions of people coming in, and they came in from the wrong locations. They came in a lot of people that shouldn't be here. So now when we have this event in December, it's going to be very safe. Johnny, you can walk down the street with your beautiful wife.
Yeah.
You can take her to dinner if you can get a reservation, which I doubt.
They're all full, the restaurants.
I know. They're all full. I heard that too. The restaurants the restaurants, since we are doing this, are doing great. And many new restaurants are going to open because, as you know, many closed. Many restaurants closed because the crime was so bad. This will be one of the safest places anywhere on earth. So, you know, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York. We're going to help with, and I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they're including the people in this audience. They'll say bad things about me, and then they'll say, "Thank God he's here," because half of them got mugged, and they don't want to get mugged again. But they work for they work for stupid people that are radical left. And they're made to do things and say things that they don't want to be saying. But the people right here are all happy because you're not going to be mugged in Washington, D.C. anymore. I just want to say Johnny's been my friend for a long time. He's an incredible guy. And we will lay out the red carpet. Andrew, you're going to be fantastic. Rick is going to be everything Rick ever touched has always worked out. And he's working with me on the Kennedy Center. And his very good friend was an actor on Broadway for 5 years, right? And I assume he's helping us a little bit, right?
Yes.
And Andrew, you're all excited about it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something?
This is a great opportunity, Mr. President, to show off the first 250 years of the United States of America, the greatness, and then the hope and promise of the next 250 years. When you think this World Cup is going to be over our 250th birthday, Mr. President, your leadership, obviously, with FIFA leading the way, this is the largest sporting event in the history of the world under the Trump administration. So very exciting.
I just want to say one thing. Andrew Giuliani, so his father is Rudy, the greatest mayor in the history of New York, I think by far. He took a ravaged city, a city that was really under siege. Probably most people thought it was going to survive. He turned it around. He was a great, great mayor. And then they treated him very, very unfairly. You go back and tell your father all of the things that have come out over the last couple of months through Tulsi and through all of the people, Cash, everybody. They've proven your father 100% correct. His father was treated so unfairly. Your father has been 100% correct, and tell him we all love him. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
He's an amazing. What he had to go through was very, very unfair, nasty. These are bad people. Mr. Vice President, would you like to say something?
Well, sure, Mr. President. Thank you, and thanks to Johnny for being here. We're very thrilled about the World Cup. Just to echo something the President said about crime in Washington, D.C., this is the national capital of the greatest nation in the world, and we had murder rates just a few weeks ago that rivaled some of the worst third world cities anywhere, even in very, very poor regions of the world. Why did we accept that? Why did we allow it to happen? We allowed it to happen because we had broken leadership in Washington, D.C., and unfortunately sitting behind the Resolute desk. What we have shown in just under 2 weeks of taking law enforcement seriously is that the American people can have their streets back if their leadership is willing to put in the time and the resources. Mr. President, you've shown in Washington, D.C. that we can have safe streets again. We've just got to have the political willpower to focus on the bad guys and to give the American people back their communities. We are focused on doing that thanks to the President's leadership.
Thank you. And that's a really very small percentage. It's 2%, 3%, but that 2% and 3% wreaks just havoc throughout a community. People are petrified, and I notice a couple of the women in the back are shaking their head, yes, yes, yes. I won't report who you are because you'll end up losing your jobs, but it's true. It's amazing, and the police, and you look at the D.C. National Guard. I saw pictures of them last night getting off vans and all. And I saw some bad ones running, but they're not running so much anymore. They're not there. They're just not even. They're not even trying. You're totally safe. Now there'll be something happening sometime. I don't know. Maybe it won't be for a long time. But this was every night would get reports of people being mugged and killed. There's one woman on television last night. She had a badly busted up nose, and she said, "Well, I like our streets the way they used to be," and she thinks it's going to happen like by doing nothing. And they say, "What happened to your nose?" She got slugged by a guy walking down the street. Slugged. Her nose will never be the same, I guarantee you, unless it takes a pretty good turn. She wasn't really for us. But she sort of said, well, maybe something has to happen. Before this happened to me, she got whacked. And I don't think she'll ever be the same. She was a half a Trump fan, a woman that would have never been a Trump fan, but she was hit hard. It's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. But then we're going to beautify the city too. That's where I was today at Kennedy Center. And we're going to beautify the city like it has it. And we're working with Clark Construction, the biggest construction company in Chicago, and in Washington. And the head of Clark is great. He's all over the world actually, but Washington, I would say, is their home. That's where they do the best work, the biggest work. And they've been doing a fantastic job. So you're going to have a fantastic, clean, beautiful place. It's going to be better than it ever was before, literally better than it ever was before. We'll get it done very quickly. And I want to thank Clark because they're doing a lot of work in a lot of different locations, but they've been fantastic for getting us the right contractors and the people that can really do the job right. And Johnny, did you want to say something?
Yes, one more thing, because as you rightly say, with security and beautifying cities and the whole country, we want people to come and enjoy and have fun, and that's why this is not just the most iconic trophy in the world of sport, but we start on the 10th of September the sale of tickets for the FIFA World Cup, and we have the first ticket here for the final.
Good. Wow.
For you.
Oh, good. Wow.
It's, of course, row 1, seat 1. It's ticket number 4547. And it's for the final in New York, New Jersey.
That's great. Thank you,
And so you have your ticket already for the final. All the others, 10th of September, start getting your tickets.
That's beautiful, yeah.
6.5, 7 million tickets. Fans will enjoy the security here. Will be fantastic.
You're going to do record business, I think.
100%.
Christy, would you like to say something?
Yeah, Mr. President, millions of people will come to this country, and we'll make sure they get their travel documents, their visas, that they want to come here and spend their money and enjoy this sporting event. It'll be the largest event in the world. And sir, you're reminding me of something that my dad used to say all the time when I was growing up. He would say, Christy, you kids need to look like you respect yourself before anybody's going to respect you. And in this country, when people look at our streets, when they look at our capital, you're bringing respect back to this city. And people will respect our country more because it's safe, it's clean, it's beautiful. And what you're doing is transforming this nation by making sure that our laws are upheld. And millions of people are going to come and be able to enjoy it next year, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for doing that.
Well, our country is respected again. And a year ago, we had a dead country. I'm telling you, it was a dead country. It was a country that had lost its way. It was a country that was going to fail. Look, even today, where they say $4 trillion in reductions of deficits, and this was totally unexpected. They didn't expect. I mean, I don't know where they've been, the people that do this stuff, but it's terrible. I want to thank Christy for another reason. I said to her 2 weeks ago, I said, Christy, do me a favor. I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built the same wall that the Border Patrol asked me to build. It wasn't my first choice. I wanted to do concrete plank and everything nice, but you wouldn't have been able to see through it. So I had Border Patrol in, and they tested everything else. And we gave them steel wall, high-grade steel, very hard to cut. Then we gave inside that is 9,000-pound concrete, which is a very tough concrete. Inside that is rebar, a big, fat piece of rebar. So you have all different materials that are very hard to cut, and you need different instruments to cut each one. And I said, Kristen, we got to get a coat of paint on it. And I didn't know she was listening. But I said, we got to get a coat of paint, and it should be black, because black makes the steel very hot. It's untouchable. You could fry an egg on it. And if you got a good black, flat paint, it would look beautiful. It will preserve it from rust. And that was it. And I gave it to her along with 30 other things, and she's done such a good job on the border with Tom Homan and the group. Tom Homan's a fantastic guy, what the job he does, and the way they work together. So I turned on last night and I see Christie's painting the wall. And it looked beautiful, by the way, when that paint went over there.
And it's hot.
It's hot.
Yes, it is.
It's hot. If it's white, it's not hot. If it's black, it's going to be very hard to climb that sucker. It's not going to be easy. But it's black and a high quality black. You know, it really looked good.
Yeah, we got
Is
the
that going to
paint
be
you
a
told us
two-coat
to.
job or a one-coat?
No, just one coat.
One coat.
We used the paint you told me to buy.
Yep. The two-coat will take place in 3 years from now, right? We'll do the second coat. But it looks beautiful. But thank you very much. I didn't know you were listening to that, because we talked about 7 different subjects, and all of a sudden I see her out there painting with a lot of painters and everything else. But it was a beautiful thing to say. Would you like to say something? You've been such a big part of this. Please.
Well, just, Mr. President, we're delighted to be here today for this announcement, but we're also looking forward to having you at the final.
Oh, yes.
On July 19th in New York, New Jersey.
We're going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there.
A lot of people.
I'd like to thank you all. Do you have any questions on FIFA, first of all?
It's going to be a big event at the Kennedy Center. Do you intend to take part in it? Will you have a part to play on December 5th?
I may play. I mean, I see the money that these soccer players, we call it soccer, but I see the money that these soccer players are making. I may try and play. I'm a very good athlete. My son is a very good athlete, and he's a good soccer player. He's on the tall side for soccer. Yeah. He's 6'9". That's pretty tall.
That's pretty tall.
It's on the tall side.
He's good.
It's on the tall side, but he's good. But no, I may put on shorts. I look extremely good in shorts and join the play. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great.
Many foreigners who want to come to attend the event are concerned about the visa situation. Can you reassure them?
Yeah, and they're going to have a very easy time getting in. Certain countries are going to be very, very easy, and other countries are going to be obviously a little bit more difficult. Would you like to explain that, Kristen?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a process set up that we'll be implementing on getting visas approved. Everybody will be thoroughly vetted, but they'll be welcome to this country. It'll happen quickly, and we're excited for them to come. So I would hope that around the world people know that the United States is excited to bring their family here to enjoy this event.
America welcomes the world.
Yes.
And I can really, from the collaboration that we have, testify for that, absolutely. Thank you.
And I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But he'll, I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. So, but I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
Mr. President, on
yes.
that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to that?
I told him I'm not happy about it, and I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
How long are you willing to wait,
A
Mr.
very good
President?
call with Prime Minister Carney of Canada yesterday morning.
Yes.
Actually, Canada is taking away some retaliatory tariffs.
He's removing his tariffs, yeah.
Exactly.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice. And we're going to have another call soon.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a very good call.
You're getting closer towards an
Well, I
agreement,
like him.
country.
I like him. You know, look, I'm fighting for the United States. Canada and Mexico have taken a lot of our business over the years, over 25, 30 years, especially during the Biden years. They took a lot of our business, and it's basically all coming back into the United States now. We're hot as a pistol, and it's coming back in. Because of tariffs and the incentives we give, it's coming back. And it's impossible, I think, for another country to stop it. And we are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person. And we had a very good talk yesterday. So I think it'll be good.
Mr. President, I have a question about the search of Ambassador Bolton's home. The Vice President recently just did an interview saying that it's about classified documents, but that there's also broad concern about him. What are the concerns
Well,
that
I
you
haven't
have?
spoken to Pam and the group yet, but I will be. I saw that just like everybody else. I try and stay out of that stuff. I'm allowed to be, and I'm chief law enforcement officer, believe it or not. You know, I don't like to go around saying that, but I am. That's the position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he suffers major Trump derangement syndrome, but so do a lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it. But if you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today. But my house was raided also, called Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes. They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she said, she's very neat, you know, she's meticulous. And she looked and she said, whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it. So, you know, so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, how long will you give Putin
A couple of
and
weeks. We're going to figure it out. We'll find it.
Do you think you'll have to intervene at some point?
Look, it takes 2 to tango. You understand that. I wanted to have a meeting with those 2. I could have been at the meeting, but a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But we're going to see. In the meantime, people continue to die. But I've solved 7 of them where they were in wars for 31, 35, and 37 years. We had 3 of them that were for more than 30 years, Johnny, and I got them solved. And we solved one that could have been a nuclear war with India and Pakistan. That was getting ready to be a nuclear war. I solved them all. And this one, I thought we would have had it done by now, but it's more difficult. There's a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. There's a tremendous amount of hatred there. So. But we'll see what happens. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going. Because I'm going to go one way or the other. And they'll learn which way I'm going.
Mr. President, if I got 2 questions for you. One on FIFA, the other one on DC. Can you talk about the economic impact that FIFA will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. You know, it's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor is incompetent. You know, Gavin. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of bullshit, and he doesn't get the job done. And frankly, those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it: the federal government that has the most complex part, it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it. Everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I used every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably almost anybody. And it's great. It's fine. It's wonderful. But you don't build it in Pacific Palisades. You don't build it there, and you don't build it in the other areas that burn down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses, and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor. And that's a terrible thing. But and let me tell you, if I didn't send in the troops in Los Angeles, Johnny wouldn't be in Los Angeles. You wouldn't be having your World Cup there. I sent in the troops, and we kept it. And even the police commissioner, the sheriff, and the police commissioner, they all said the same thing. They said, we could have never handled what was happening. You saw that. You were there. He said, we could have never handled what was happening. And then you hear Gavin Newsom. After it's all quelled, you hear Newsom get up and said, we could have done this by ourselves. No, they couldn't have. And if they could have, I wouldn't have taken the chance either.
Okay, my second question is on crime prevention. Would you be open to expanding the national concealed carry to apply to D.C. like it does in other states like Texas?
Yeah. Well, they have it in some states, and they feel strongly about it. As you know, I'm in favor of it. People have to protect themselves. I'm a Second Amendment person, very simply. People have to be able to protect themselves. Especially like in Washington, you walk down the street, a guy comes up and slugs you. He's got a pistol in his hand. You can be tough, you can be in great shape, you can be a powerful person, or you can be a guy that weighs 100 pounds with a gun in your hand.
Right.
And I'll bet on the guy with a gun 100% of the time, right? And so you need protection. So I'm a Second Amendment person all the way. Yeah, please.
President Trump, you said this morning that you were working with Congress to get $2 billion to help clean up D.C. Have you had any conversations with Mike Johnson and John Thune about where they're going to get that money from?
Which money?
You said this morning that you're going to get $2 billion from Congress to help clean up
Yeah,
D.C.
I've spoken to Mike Johnson. I've spoken to John Thune, the Senate, the House, and I think it's going to be very easy to get. It's going to be not a lot of money. I wouldn't even know where to spend the number that you mentioned, but it's going to be money to beautify the city. Yeah, they're ready. Everybody wants to save D.C. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country, actually, by far. It may have been more than any other city in the world, if you could think. We looked at some of the worst cities in the world, it was worse. And that's why it angers me to see the mayor saying about how they have it on the slide. Not on the slide, it was worse than ever. We have no problem getting that money. That money will come out of Congress. I think it'll be even bipartisan.
And is the plan
I would imagine Democrats would vote for that one.
Is the plan to get it before the September 30 spending deadline on the Hill?
Well, I don't know if there is a deadline, because if I declare a national emergency, which this was, that ends the deadline. So, I keep seeing about a 30-day deadline, of which we have 22 days left or something. But if I think we're in great shape here, that's one thing. But if I don't, I'm going to just say it's a national emergency. And if I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops here as long as I want. If people are not going to want to have the troops, and 30 days, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time. You've got to train people. You can't do this. You can't bop people over the head. And a lot of those people are in courts right now, going to court. They're going to go to jail for a long time. So that's going to take more than 30 days. But if I have to, I'll declare a national emergency, which I don't think I have to do. Yeah.
Mr. President, Ukraine and Russia, you said in 2 weeks you'll know whether you go.
Yeah, I think I'll know. I think I'll know the attitude of Russia and, frankly, of Ukraine. It takes 2.
What are the 2 ways you can go at the end of 2 weeks then?
Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do, and it's going to be a very important decision. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say it's your fight? Look, I would have never been in this war if I were president. You wouldn't have had this war. It was never going to happen. This was caused by stupid people that fought. And people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years, it was never even a subject. And Vladimir knew, and you see his picture right here. It was nice that he sent, but Vladimir knew very strongly we wouldn't have stood for it. It wouldn't have happened. 100% wouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And now they're losing from 5 to 7 young kids. Think of it, you're a parent and your son is leaving. He's Russian or he's Ukrainian. And he's leaving and they're waving goodbye. Nice, beautiful kid. Nice crew cut, all set. He wants to be a soldier. And he goes there, the first week he has his head blown off. And he's no different than you people, me. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, I solved a problem in the Congo that was vicious. Rwanda and the Congo, the Republic of the Congo. And they were fighting for 31 years, and it was machetes. People were getting their heads chopped off. That was going on for 31 years. I got it solved. You saw it. They came to the White House, and we signed an agreement. It was amazing. People can't believe we got it done. I love to stop killing. I really do. People thought it would be just the opposite. Hillary Clinton said, oh, he'll get us into a war. No, I'm getting everybody else out of wars.
Are you saying there's a real possibility then that you do nothing if Putin doesn't come to the table for a ceasefire?
I'll see whose fault it is. If there are reasons why, I'll understand that. I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to see whether or not they have a meeting. That'll be interesting to see. And if they don't, why didn't they have a meeting? Because I told them to have a meeting. But I'll know in 2 weeks what I'm going to do. I have pretty good ideas.
Your Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
I'm in support of keeping it open.
If they want
innocent people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. People, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency, and the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly. You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean, but I don't want to hurt Larry Summers, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history. What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. I mean, just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with from where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that. It's only a question of how high is it going to go. You know, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it was, I like doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe, nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're going to buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy there. And they're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had a great... people said they've never seen anything like it, where we had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement. But people aren't ripping us anymore. We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
Mr. President, in Israel...
Two questions. One is about Intel. There have been reports that you're considering taking a stake in Intel. Can you tell us
About the
that?
10%?
About the 10%.
Yeah, I met a man. He was a very nice man, and I called for his removal because I saw something by a man named Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas. He's a great guy, friend of mine, supporter of mine, big supporter. I'm a supporter of his too. And he wrote a pretty nasty story about the head of Intel. And I said, well, if that's right, he should resign. And he came in, he saw me, we talked for a while. I liked him a lot. I thought he was very good. I thought he was somewhat a victim, but nobody's a total victim, I guess. And I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel has been left behind, as you know, compared to Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, some of the people, and the people in, because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president that would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or a 200 or 300 or a 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were, in some cases, good politicians that weren't good on trade. I loved that man, but he was not good on trade. I totally disagreed. He allowed the car industry to be taken out of this country. We lost 50% of our car industry. But that's all coming back. It's all coming back. But if somebody would have said that with Intel, would be a giant right now. Now, with that, they've had some bad management over the years, and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes. That's about $10 billion. I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed. And they've agreed to do it. And I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them. If somebody has, like we have restrictive covenants with Jensen. We have, it's NVIDIA. And to unrestrict the covenant, nothing to do with losing our powers or military or anything, because that I wouldn't do. But there are things you can do that don't affect us, that actually help us. And if we're going to give somebody a restricted covenant, we have a strong restrictive covenant on certain industries. And I will absolutely give somebody a opening on to do a lot of business, which is good for us, as long as it doesn't hurt us in a security or military way. And if I do that, I think the country should be paid, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
Mr. President, on DC crime, you said Chicago might be next. Are you making, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that? Or what are other cities as well?
I haven't spoken to the mayor. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to the mayor. No, when we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did DC. Chicago is very dangerous, great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago was our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago, I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco, the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, you know, it's just different. We can clean that up, too. We'll clean that one up, too. Now, if everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats, we'd love you to come here, because they've lost control of
Like
their
who?
cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here because we'll straighten out the problem.
Mr. President, in Israel, the families of hostages are are opposed to the reoccupying of Gaza. Why is the U.S. still
Well, not
supporting
all of them. And you have to understand, I'm the one that got all of the hostages out. You got a lot of people out. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out. I worked with Bibi and I worked with Steve Witkoff. But if it wasn't for me, you would have all these hostages would most likely be dead right now, every one of them. So they all come up here. They come in groups of 10, 12, 13, and many of them, and I've gotten to know a lot of them. They're great people. What they had to go through is incredible. But so now they have 20, but the 20 is actually probably not 20 because a couple maybe aren't around any longer. It's a terrible thing. No, I don't like anymore. I said, you know, when you get down to 20, they're not going to make deals anymore. And they didn't. And then I put out a statement, as you know, there was a tough statement, go in and get them. And they said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you 10. I don't know what Israel's doing, but they were willing now immediately to give us another 10. The situation has to end. It's extortion and it has to end. And we'll see what happens. I actually think they're safer in many ways if you went in and you really went in fast and you did it. And people can't forget October 7th, remember that. I'm friendly with all groups. I won the Arab vote in Michigan. I did so great with the Arab vote, remember? I started off at 0, I ended up winning. I wouldn't say the candidate was the greatest, but I would have won against anybody. They're great people. But we have to do things properly. And you know, I'm very proud to say I got the hostages out. You have hundreds of people that are living now because of me. And now we have that final little group of people. And Hamas knows that if they give them, that's probably the end of their lives. So it's not easy to get. And I know if you're a parent, you just don't care. You want, I want my baby back. They want their babies back. They want their kids back. And I understand it. But I got them out and did a good job. And we're doing everything we can to get the hostages out. Thank you all very much. Yes?
So Jackson Hole, Jay Powell today said he suggested that they might cut interest rates, but they have to proceed.
Well, we call him too late for a reason. He should have cut him a year ago. He's too late. You know, we have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I go out there and I'll see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country is better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that were so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day, the most, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is a time to invade. It's, this is a time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that, it was off to the races, right? When he said he can do a small incursion, remember that? I was surprised he knew the word incursion. I didn't think he had that good of a vocabulary. I want to thank everybody. It's very important to me and to everybody up here, the World Cup. And Johnny has been so incredible. I mean, he's really a great leader. I mean, to think, I said, Johnny, do it by phone. You don't have to come. No, he said, I'll come. And he flew all night long to be here and listen to this about how great we're doing in D.C. But he's a fantastic leader, and this will be your most successful World Cup ever. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Think America will win. Yeah, can we win it, Mr. President?
I don't know. That's I watch some of those teams go around. They go down that field. I don't know. But let me ask you, what chance does America have of winning?
Well, the home team always has a good chance to win. It depends
see,
how
he's
it
a
starts.
No,
but it has some good players.
We have a shot. We have
of course. Of course, you have a chance.
Will Barrett be going to any of the games, Mr. President?
I'd love to have him. He'd love to. He's very tall. Maybe we can make him a goalie. Right? The goalies are very tall now, right?
Yeah, goalies are very tall.
The goalies, well, he'd be a perfect goalie.
100%.
At his height, he'll be a great
Yeah,
goalie.
exactly.
So we'll put him on the American team. No, but do the Americans have a chance of like getting into the quarterfinals?
Yes,
right?
definitely. No, the quarterfinal definitely. But then, as the tournament goes on with the public, 250 years of United States. Let's not forget, they will all feel energized about that.
It's amazing. The talent is really great when you watch these things. I went to the game 2 weeks ago, and it was a big upset. But you look at these people; the way they pass it. It's amazing, really amazing. It's a great art, right? It's a great talent.
It is incredible.
You know the expression. What?
When you draw the names, the message,
I don't know. He's the boss.
That's an interesting proposal.
He's the boss.
We'll discuss that.
It's going to be great. And I think the American team is going to do well. I mean, I hear it's a very good team. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
We keep a lot of those photos.
You guys.
No, I just got one.
Thank you. Thank you guys for
It's a nice, friendly group. Lovely. Well, we're in a very good mood. We just had the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Ever. And actually a record for a Republican. Now, I don't know about have they checked the Democrats too, but we have a record so far for a Republican. Now, it's 4 weeks. We have a lot of weeks to go. We want to finish that way, right? But I just want to thank everybody because you've been really amazing. The job you've done has been incredible in terms of this 4-week period. It's been a very somewhat historic 4 weeks, and we have a couple of things in the works. We're negotiating with Russia, Ukraine, trying to get that horrible situation over with. It's terrible. It's just so terrible. I see pictures that you fortunately don't get to see. You don't want to see them. And that is a killing field. You have young soldiers being killed, thousands a week, and we got to get it over with. It's bad for Russia, and it's bad for Ukraine, and it's bad for us on a humanitarian basis. I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. But we're not going to let this continue. This war is terrible. It would have never happened if I were president. But it did happen, so I got stuck with it, and the whole world is stuck with it. And right now you have a country that has its cities, they look like demolition sites. Those beautiful towers, those 1,000-year-old golden domes that were so beautiful, the most beautiful in the world, they say. They're all in smithereens. Millions of people are killed, I think far more people than anyone understands. And we have people that better get to the table and get it ended. Should have never happened. It would have never happened. But I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House. You're amazing people. Even the Democrats are amazing people, some of you. And we've worked together. Actually, we work very well together. I can't think of anybody. There's one or two, yeah, that it doesn't work out so well, but that's sort of normal. But I do want to welcome you, and I want to let you know that anything I can do, I'm here. I'm here for you. And we can do a lot. I do want to say that I left a great place, North Carolina, and we're really working hard there since I've been in. For 4 weeks, we've done more than they've did in all of the period of time. And FEMA was a disaster. FEMA wasn't there. They didn't do the job. And it was a terrible, terrible situation. I've never seen anything like it. And then they actually, when they did get there, a very small group, they chose anybody with an American flag or the name Trump on the front of the house. They would sort of skip that house very nicely. And it was just a disaster. And we've done it the other way. And we're working with a very nice person that we've had good relationships, the newly elected Democrat governor, who's here, I assume, is he? Okay, thank you very much. We're working well together, very well together. And we're not using FEMA so much, but it doesn't matter as long as we get the job done. But the people are becoming very happy. So I want to thank you very much. Great job. But we are, and I'm of the opinion, I understand FEMA very well. We had a good situation with FEMA, but it was a very expensive thing to do. And I really believe when there's a natural disaster, a hurricane, a tornado, or whatever it may be, you're very capable people. It's called you fix it. You take care of it yourselves. You don't have to call some faraway state and have people planed in from areas that they have no idea. They come in from Alaska to help you in Florida. They say, boy, this is hot here. This is, by the time they figure it out, everything would have been fixed. It's not a good situation. It's very expensive. You spend at least twice as much. They don't negotiate. They go out and hire local contractors, and they have no idea who they are. And I'd rather have my governor from South Carolina, Henry. I'd rather have Ron. I'd rather have from Florida. I'd rather have, I could name just about everybody in this room. I'd rather have you do it. You'll save a lot of money. And we'll send the bills. We'll pay, I think, far less. We have to have you have a little bit of skin in the game. Otherwise, those bills will be much higher than they're supposed to be, especially with a couple of you in this room who I know will get bills that you wouldn't believe, record setters. But so I think 75-25 with the government, the federal government paying 75. And we'll go right through to probably either go through Commerce, maybe go through Marco, because Marco's very good with money. I don't think I'm going to give him to the environmental gentleman, Lee Zeldin, here, because Lee's going to say, what's this all about, huh? They gave me this, too. You have found some big stuff, by the way, some big fraud. You have, as he said, this one's not even explainable. We're talking about billions of dollars, so great job, Lee. Really, it's sad, but it's a great job you've done in a very short period of time. But I think Marco or Scott or Howard, and if wherever Howard may be, we want to congratulate him. He did it was a great session. He got no Democrat votes. I thought he's been a Democrat all his life, and he got no Democrat votes. They all called him to apologize. And, honestly, that shouldn't be. But he got approved yesterday. But today I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House. And I've known many of you for a long, long time. And this week we're forging even stronger bonds of cooperation to better serve the American people. I also want to thank the members of my cabinet who have joined us for this meeting, and they have gone right off the bat. And I also want to thank Senator Thune, because I'm hearing we set a record on approvals, and I was screaming. I thought it was going so slowly. I think we have a record. So I apologize to anybody I screamed at. But no, it was announced this morning. I think we had a record for the number of positions, so that's great. And they're great people. So I'll begin by introducing Secretary of State Marco Rubio, He scares me because he got 99 votes. So that's either unbelievably good because he's an incredible diplomat and therefore he's Secretary of State and you couldn't have picked it, or I'm a little nervous about you, Mark. And the only vote he didn't get was our Vice President, who couldn't vote because he had just left. So you got 100%. But it really says something. I think it says working together. It's an amazing tribute, I think. I'll let you know about it. I'll let you know about it in about 2 years, everybody. Marco's been great, and he's been in some big meetings with people at the highest level of states that we would say, states meaning other countries that we would have said wouldn't have dealt so well, but they're dealing very well. You have a great group of people with Steve Witkoff and Michael Waltz, and we're making amazing progress. I mean, we've made more progress on that situation, which is Ukraine, than they have in 3 years. Again, it's so sad that it began, but we're also working very hard in the Middle East. Another one that wouldn't have happened, we would never have had, you wouldn't have had October 7th. They had no money, Iran was broke. We had sanctions up on Iran that nobody's ever seen before. They were literally broke, and they were not giving any money to Hezbollah, to Hamas. And how about Hamas yesterday with the babies? How about that? You know, we're going to take that. We're going to continue to take that. I don't think so. But I want to just thank you, Marco, for doing a great job, and Scott, you also. Scott went all the way to Ukraine. I said, don't do it. That's why they have telephones. But it's always better to meet in person. But I just didn't feel that it was good, and it was dangerous. You saw things on that train ride that you didn't like, I understand. You know, it's a pretty dangerous ride, a long ride. How long was that? 10 hours. 10-hour ride? That's after you get there. And a very dangerous journey, but he wanted to do it. He's a patriot. He wanted to do it. It's better to do it than it is with a telephone. Always better. I always say it's much better to meet in person, but that was dangerous. I like him. Therefore, I didn't want him to do it. If I didn't like him, I would have suggested he do it. In fact, I'd say, go back today and let's give it another shot. But I hear that they're going to agree pretty much with what. But that's not the big thing. The big thing is getting it done. And we'll get it done. Also, somebody who's been so popular right from the beginning, very, very little opposition, but she's fantastic. She was the Attorney General of Florida for 8 years, highly respected, and just an amazing person, amazing leader and woman, Pam Bondi. Good, Pam. How's it going? Good? You got enough work? You got a lot of work over there, I'll tell you, man. She's going to be unbelievable. I don't even think about it. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. And Doug, I don't know if Doug's here. He was last night. Oh, good. You just disappear right into the woodwork, huh? Doug is a man who made a lot of money, actually, but in technology, sold to Microsoft for a lot, and decided he wanted to do a Trump thing, and he did, and he won easily. And he became a great governor of North Dakota. And really good. And he was all of a sudden thrown into the oil business, right? And he took that to a level that nobody ever thought possible. The job you've done there has been amazing. And I watched he ran. Then I said, I like that guy. He was one of the few that didn't hit me. He was after my position, but he never said anything bad about me. I said, okay, that's one checklist that we have good. You know, it's one of the ones. But he was an amazing governor. And he really became an expert on energy. And when I was with him, I realized I wanted him someplace. I didn't know exactly where, but I thought it would be the Department of Energy. I kept talking because the state has done so well. And I said, look, I want you to just hold it, and I want to put you there. He said, sir, I have somebody much better than me on energy. Who? Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is Chris Wright? He said, is Chris here? I don't even know. Is Chris here? Hello, Chris. Boy, am I giving him some build-ups. I did the same thing last night. But he's the top guy in the whole, they say, on the planet for energy, in all forms of energy, even clean, beautiful coal that we're going to be using like Germany does now. They're opening up a plant a week. And they're opening up in China more than, somebody told me, 2 plants a week, you know, but we're supposed to use the wind, which doesn't work. doesn't work from a practical standpoint. But I just want to welcome you because you had the greatest man. When he said, you're probably the only man, because I know Doug, he's got a big ego. And you're the only man I've actually heard him say something. He said, he's so much better than me on energy, he's better than anybody. And so we made a move, and you gave up a tremendous position to do this. And we want to thank you, but we have to get going because when we bring the energy costs down, we have more energy than anybody in the world. We just didn't use it. Can you imagine? Biden set us up in Venezuela instead of taking ours, so that we go to Venezuela where they'd have very heavy stuff, and we have the best stuff in the world. We have more liquid gold, and it's really great liquid gold too. We have more under our feet than anybody else. But we went to Venezuela to buy oil instead of taking it from our own land and, drilling a little hole in the ground. About how big is that hole? About a foot? About a foot, yeah. We drill a little tiny hole, and we could have taken it instead of all of the problems. And then we've made Venezuela strong again. They've given them a lot of money. They never thought they were going to have so much money, and all the people are leaving. So you're going to have one guy sitting there with a lot of oil under his feet. That's not a good situation, but we're having talks about that whole mess. What a mess. That was another one that was done. He was ready to quit. He was going to be out. Marco, you know that better than anybody. Marco's been very staunch against what took place there. And we were going to have that in any form we wanted it. But Biden made them strong. It was the worst administration in history, and I say that with a lot of Democrats, but I think you believe it too. You can't say it, but you believe it. But I just want to thank you, and if you get those prices down, that's what caused inflation, the energy. I mean, the spending, but I think even more so the energy. The energy went up. They stopped the oil leases. They stopped a lot of things that we were doing, and then they went back to what we were doing as much as they could because the prices were going through the roof. Remember that initial surge? It was brutal. And they went back. They let any rig. They let any rig that we had up just drill. And they ended up doing similar numbers, but we wouldn't have been at those numbers. We would have been double or triple those numbers. Those were from years ago. But energy caused our problem. But I just want to thank you for recommending him. And what we've done is he's the head of Department of Energy. He's Department of the Interior. And it's really screwy because the Department of the Interior has all the energy other than some nuclear energy that you're in charge of. But he has all the energy, has all the land, all the great places, best. We have more than any other country in the world. And he's in charge of it. The problem is he can't drill. And he drills, but he has no land. So what do? We said, I have an idea. Let's merge them. So we merged them intellectually. I don't know if we did it legally, but we did it intellectually. So now he gives up the land and he gives up the drillers, and you're going crazy, right? You're going wild, and you'll do it beautifully, environmentally well, Lee. We'll make sure. But we have a lot of things, but we had a merge. I always wondered, why doesn't the Energy Department do more? And they didn't do more because they don't have any energy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. We'll probably have to make maybe even a change in that, somehow merge them or do something, because it's pretty tremendous what you're going to be able to do. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins, who's so fantastic, and she's been at the head of so many different things and loyal from the beginning. She even opened up when we had a rather shocking defeat. She opened up we call it an institute. I've never seen anybody raise money like her. She raised hundreds of millions of dollars on this fabulous thing. But I said, look, we want to win another race because I think it's really important to win twice. And I won 3 times, if you think about it. So but it's only the Republicans smile when I say it happens to be true. But Brooke has been amazing, and it was really tough because this last election, I go to a person and say, sir, I just gave you $10 million. Oh, where did you give it to? I gave it to Brooke. You gave it to Brooke. She's spending it on policy. We don't have to worry about policy. We have to worry about getting elected, right? But Brooke is fantastic, and she's done such a good job, and she's Make America Great Again, top of the line, right? And she's going to, and what I didn't know, and as soon as I found out, I said, that's that. She studied, that's what she studied, agriculture. She knows everything about it, and she's going to be a fantastic secretary, and you'll do something with the eggs, because I'm hearing so much about eggs. You'll figure it out. You got to figure something out fast. But and we inherited all of the problems. You know, at some point, a few months down the road, we won't be able to say it's so much us. But the big things, really, we can blame other people for, to allow criminals into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, to allow people from jails to have countries from all over the world be allowed to empty jails into an open border. They emptied jails and prisons, mental institutions, insane asylum, gang members, drug lords, drug people, people on drugs, people that are very sick. They allowed them to come into our country totally unchecked, unvetted. And right now we have a great gentleman, Tom Homan, who's doing an unbelievable job, and Kristi Noem. They're doing a great job, but it's something we should have never had to be done. And you see the levels of crime that these are serious. They make our criminals look nice, I'll tell you. That's the only thing we get out of it. Our criminals are very nice people by comparison. These are seriously tough people. The various gangs, whether it's MS-13 or the Venezuelan gangs, they're as tough as nobody's ever seen toughness like this. Secretary of Health and Human Services, nobody knows this particular gentleman. He sailed right through. I thought he'd get a lot of, I said, well, he's going to get a lot of Democrat votes, Ron. I said, he's going to be an easy one, right? I told Ron DeSantis, I said, this one's going to be so easy. He's going to get all those Democrat votes. I don't know. You thank goodness for the Republicans, right? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And where is Bobby? Where is Bobby? So congratulations. Was that as easy as you thought? Just quit. Well, in the end, they all voted for him. He did pretty well. You got through. But, you know, we have one stat that I quote, the autism stat. And you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34. Is that right? 34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000. So we got from 20,000 to 34, 36. That's unbelievable. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something, you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And he understands. He's working with Dr. Oz, who's a really smart guy. I know him very well. And those two guys are going to figure it out. And they're also going to figure out why in the United States we pay $1,300 for a drug, one that we were talking about, and in London they pay, literally they pay $200, even less. $88 I heard in one case yesterday. They pay $88, we pay $1,300 for the exact same drug from the exact same factory, from the same plant where it's made. We've got to figure that out. So I hope you focus really a lot on the cost too, because Americans are being screwed, and it's no good. They're not going to put up with it. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, another one I know very well. He's going to be fantastic, Scott Turner. So, Scott, congratulations. Man, oh, man, you are something. He got up and we had a great meeting yesterday, right? He got up and spoke. He's a good speaker, that one. And everybody loves you. Everybody knows you. Great guy. You're going to do fantastically. Well, you got a good recommendation from Ben Carson. Once Ben Carson recommended you, I said, all right, that's okay. We love Ben Carson. Nobody like Ben. Secretary of Energy, I introduced, Chris Wright, and Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins. I know Doug so well. Oh, where's Doug? Where's Doug? That voice during the Mueller hearings, that beautiful voice. Do you know, remember the catastrophe that every Democrat remembers this, when Mueller went to testify? This was not a good situation. That's where it all ended, Pam, when he didn't know anything about anything. And Doug said, you don't know what we're talking about, do you? No. This was not a good day for them, but it was a good day for justice, I can tell you that, for fair justice. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, he ran for governor of New York. In theory, you have no chance, but actually, he almost won. It was a fantastic run, amazing run. And he's very smart. He was a congressman. He was fantastic on the hoax, the various hoaxes I had. I had a lot of hoaxes, so many I don't want to name them all. We don't have enough time, but he was always very strong, great lawyer, tremendous lawyer, and also a big believer in the environment and keeping it good and clean and healthy. And I just want to thank you for the job. And the only thing I ask is that you go speedily, because, you know, a lot of people use the whole process, the environmental impact process, to delay projects. We just want them to go quickly. And you can get the same answer in a matter of months as opposed to a matter of years. I feel so strongly, because people are coming in with tremendous amounts of money. I have been spoken to by yesterday I had Tim Cook in the office from Apple. He's investing hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't know. I hope he's announced it. Hope I didn't announce this, but what the hell? All I do is tell the truth. That's what he told me. Now he has to do it, right? So it's a good. But he's investing hundreds of billions of dollars, and others too. We're going to have a lot of chip makers coming in, a lot of automakers coming in. They stopped 2 plants in Mexico. They were under construction, starting construction. They just stopped them. They're going to build here instead because they don't want to pay the tariffs. The tariffs are amazing. It's good. I got myself in a lot of trouble. I said it's my favorite word in the dictionary, the word tariff. It's such a beautiful word. And the fake news killed me. They said, what about love? What about God? What about family? And I said, I'm in trouble. I said, so now it's my 4th favorite word. I say, love, God, family. There's a couple of others I could add in there too, but it's my 4th favorite word. So, and OMB Director Russell Vought. Thank you, Russell. You're going to be incredible. I know he took some hits, but I know how good he is, how honest he is, and he's fantastic with the numbers. And you're seeing these numbers coming out with the theft, right? And it's tremendous fraud, waste, and abuse, and all 3 of them. But I think the fraud is really the biggest. I think you're going to see it. You come out as soon as you can, I think, with your numbers, but because they're not explainable. They're not explainable. So I just, Russell, do a great job. That's all. SBA Administrator, small business. Now, small business is really big business. It's actually one of the biggest banks in the world. It sounds a little bit like, oh, small, little business. It is a massive. It is one big sucker, right? And Kelly Loeffler's here, so she's going to be incredible. And she's got an incredible husband, Jeff, who's one of the most important people in the world of finance. And he knows. He owns a thing called the New York Stock Exchange, so that's not so bad, right? And you have natural experience, but I think you're going to do great. And there's a lot of fraud in there from the past, you know, with all the money that was handed out. It was, you know, billions and billions of dollars. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Where's Tulsi? Is she here? Hi, Tulsi. I haven't really seen you. Good luck. Do well. Have fun. We built a building. The building cost like $12 billion. The building is loaded up with intelligence. Lots of luck figuring it out, right? Good. It was. He was treated pretty rough for a person that's an incredible patriot. We've all known that. So it's nice that you're sitting with Bobby, because you two, you went through a lot. But you know what? You're going to be stars. And over the past month, our new administration has taken unrelenting action to fix every single disaster that we inherited, and we inherited a lot of them, the border being, I think it's the most difficult one of all. The rest we can get fixed, including foreign countries that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And one of the reasons that we won the election by so much, because we won it in everywhere. We won the popular vote. We won the 7 swing states, all 7 by a lot. And we won by millions of votes, the popular. It's always hard. I guess it hasn't happened in a couple of decades for a Republican to win the popular vote. I think that that's changing so rapidly. But we had another thing that was pretty amazing. We had, of the 3,000 counties, we won 2,500 of them. and the Democrats won 500. It's a lot. They've never seen anything like it. It would actually, you would have thought that the numbers would even be much higher. When you win 2,500 counties to 500 counties, when you look at the map, you've all seen the map, the one that got certified and came out just recently. It's like almost totally red. And it's my honor. We're going to just work it out. But we've really become the party of common sense, and I think it's important. I think it's important for the Democrats' common sense, too. We're going to deal with you, and we're going to deal on a common sense basis. And I know a lot of you agree with a lot of the things. I don't know, sometimes you're not allowed to say it, unfortunately, but I think we'll be all better off if everybody says it. That includes Republicans saying the right things. So on day one, I declared a national emergency on our southern border to stop the invasion of our country, because we were being invaded. Millions and millions of people. I figure 21 million people, and of that, 2 or 3 million were criminals. And many of them were people that countries didn't want. They would put them in these massive, large caravans. I came up with that name a long time ago. That's what it is. It's a caravan. And these are people, in many cases, they might not be criminals, but they're people that the country didn't want. They didn't work. They needed help all the time, or they needed assistance, or whatever. Our country's got a lot of people in it right now. And we're going to make sure that everybody's treated fairly, but we got to change it. It's the most difficult problem, I think. Additionally, the heroes of ICE have been really hunting down the really bad ones, and we are going, they're incredible people, ICE. They were being shunned by Biden. They were being mocked. And let me tell you, these are tough men and women, but they're tough. They'll see like a MS-13 band of thugs out on Long Island, and they'll bring up the paddy wagons. They get in, and they'll say, no, one of them, 2 of them, killed 2 young girls in Long Island. For some reason, they like Long Island. MS-13 loves Long Island. I don't know what that's all about. But 2 young girls walking to school, 16 years old. In the morning, they were accosted by a group of MS-13 thugs, and they don't use guns as much. They use knives. They like using knives, and they cut them into pieces, and left them, and killed them, cut them up into pieces, little pieces. And they used knives because it's more painful. And ICE went in. They have no fear of these guys. They went in and they just knocked the hell out of them. And they'll go into a pack. They call it a pack, not like a political pack. Political packs are slightly nicer. But a pack of these MS-13 people, or Tren de Aragua people from Venezuela, and they'll just walk in. It's all you'll see is fists going for 5 minutes, and then you'll see these guys walk out, and they got them between their legs, and they're bringing them, getting them the hell out of the country. These are rough people that we have to deal with. But ICE is incredible. Border Patrol is incredible. Law enforcement, the people in law enforcement, we make their job so difficult by allowing people like this into our country. We just shouldn't do it. So I've just designated the group from Venezuela, Tren de Aragua, as a foreign terrorist organization. I mean, in Colorado, they went in, and other places, they literally take over. They're like me. They're in the real estate business. They take over real estate. And they literally take it over. They just claim it. And they tell tenants to get the hell out if you don't get out. They had one case where a guy called the cops, and they went in, you call the cops? Yes. And they cut off his fingers. He says, you don't call them anymore. You cut off the other fingers on your other hand. These are not nice people. But federal, state, and local cooperation has to be the backbone of border security. So I hope, as governors, I know all the Republicans are very much in tune with Tom Homan and Christie and everybody, but I hope everybody, because ultimately you want to get the criminals out of your state. And we're focusing on the really bad ones. We have 11,088 people that we know of that are murderers, that are actually murderers. And I can't imagine anybody wanting them in their state, whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat or whatever you may be. I mean, we have many of them murdered more than one person. Some murdered more than 5 people, and they're in our country. They let them out of jails. These were convicted people, and they let them out of jails because it's very expensive to have somebody in jail for a lifetime or whatever it might be. And they brought them in here. The American people expect every city and state to fully honor ICE detainer requests, and we hope they can, and to ensure the safe transfer of criminal aliens into federal custody for immediate removal from our country. You know, many of the countries said, we're not ever going to let them back. Under the Biden administration, I remember it's Venezuela, he's a tough guy, and others, they said, we're not letting them back. They're out of here, and you'll never bring them back. They're not coming into this country. And Biden said, oh, we can't bring them back. They won't take them. Well, we took them. And every single country now, you saw it with Colombia, you saw it with Venezuela. In fact, they actually offered to send planes to pick them up, and they'll pick them up so that we don't have to go through the expense of sending a plane. Is that correct, Marco? Even Marco couldn't believe that one. But they literally are sending planes to pick up these people. And they're rough people, and they're picking them up, and they're putting them in the planes. There's no excuse for any state attempting to aid and abet dangerous criminals, killers, drug dealers, really bad people who are violating federal law and violating the law by being in our country. To combat inflation, I declared a national energy emergency, and we had to do that. One of the things we've done is by doing that, we can go very quickly. You know, a lot of companies are coming in, but they need tremendous electricity, amounts of electricity. Who would have thought, Doug, right? But they need more electricity for AI than we have right now in the country. In other words, we have electricity now for the whole country. They need that just for that one industry. So they're coming in with, and we're going to be leading. We're now leading on that. We've really opened it up, and I hope it's good. But we opened it up, and we're leading China by a lot. But China's giving them tremendous electricity because they do whatever they want to do. But we're working with Lee. And I've told these people they're going to spend hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars, actually. So I need double the energy that we have right now, and even more than that, from what I'm understanding, which is hard to believe. In other words, take every car, everything, every building. We need, whatever it is, 100% of the energy. We need that amount just to be in the #1 position. And we need really more than that to really dominate, which I think we'll be dominating. But I told them, and they can't believe it, I said, we're going to get you quick approvals, and you're going to build your own electric plant so that you're going to create your own electricity when you build your plant, which will be massive. These are massive plants. But when you build your plant, we're going to let them build an electric generating plant where they build like a utility. In other words, instead of using Con Edison, like we have in New York, hello, Governor, nice to see you back there. And we do have Con Edison, and they don't do a bad job, actually. But, they could be a little cheaper with the price, perhaps, but they don't do bad. But we build our own utility. They can have their own utility. If they have any extra, they can put it onto the grid. But this way, they're not subject to a bad grid or a dangerous grid or a grid that gets taken out by bombs or war or anything else. So they actually couldn't believe it. They said, you think you could get that approved? Yeah, I'll get that approved very quickly. They couldn't believe it, and they're so happy. And they're going to do some in Virginia, some big ones. But we're going to go, and this way, it's really a self-service. They just have this massive building with a large electric generating facility that'll be powered by natural gas, mostly. Some will use coal, some will use nuclear, clean coal. I only say clean coal, but some will use nuclear. They have their right to do it. None will use wind because wind doesn't work. It's just terrible how an environmental person can like wind. It kills the birds. It's very expensive. It's 7-8 times more expensive than other forms of energy. Every wind turbine in the country that goes up needs massive subsidies. It's really the only energy that needs subsidy, essentially. The solar's doing okay. So it's the only one. But to combat inflation, I declared that national energy emergency, and we're going to unleash the liquid gold under our feet to bring the prices way down. That's going to happen. And again, we're going to have a big part of that's going to be natural gas, which is very, very clean, and clean coal. We're going to do as many forms of energy as we can. And it's going to be something I think everybody knows, and you're going to call me or anybody else if you have difficulty or problems, but you're going to have levels of business being brought to this country that you've never seen before. The tariffs are bringing them more than anything else. The country's bringing them, but the tariffs are bringing them. They hadn't been here, and we're creating tremendous tax incentives. But the biggest incentive is they don't want to pay 100% tariff or 200% or whatever it may be. And as you know, we're going to be announcing tariffs on cars from foreign countries of 25%. That'll be done in probably April 2nd. I was going to do it April 1st, but I said, I don't like that date. It's going to cost a lot of money to wait one day. You know, I don't know. What do I do there, Pam? Maybe should I do it just April 1st? It costs a lot of money, that extra day, Marco. You figure what that costs. Let's do it April 2nd, right? I just don't want to take the abuse. We created the new Department of Government Efficiency, which you may have heard about. DOGE, which is now waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And we've begun the largest deregulation of industries and other things. It's proper deregulation that has ever done. I lead the way on my first 4 years. We did more deregulation than any other president in history. And I brought a little list along that I thought I'd just read some of the places when you mentioned DOGE, some of the places that this money has gone. And these are the ones that I feel I could read. There are some that are so nasty and dirty and horrible that I don't want to really read them because I assume they have television on. I have a guarantee they do. I let the press in today because we have nothing to hide, right? It's much better. They said, do you want to let the press in? I said, why not? You think Biden would do that? I don't think so. $520 million was given for a consultant to do ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance investments in Africa. $520 million, $25 million to promote biodiversity, conservation, and social responsibility behavior in the country of Colombia. $25 million, $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. They have no place in particular they were thinking of. There is no location. The money was sent out, but they have no idea where it's going. $42 million for social and behavior changes in Uganda, and $10 million for Mozambique medical male circumcision. People that want to be or have to be circumcised in Mozambique. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to a consortium for elections and political process strengthening, which $22 million was for inclusive participatory political process in Moldova. And $21 million going to my friend, Prime Minister Modi in India, for voter turnout. We're giving $21 million for voter turnout in India. What about us? I want voter turnout too, Governor. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Went to a firm that nobody ever heard of.